Chapter 2601. This. What's going on? Why are there so many experts in Dragon Palace? SSS. What's going on? Why are there so many experts? The 5 experts from Dragon Palace are all 7th Order Immortal God Kings. How is this possible? Why are there so many experts in Dragon Palace? Are they waiting for the experts from Tianshan Sword Sect? What are they doing? They came prepared. A month ago, they were still surrounded outside and didn't dare to come out. How did they? Look at this creepy space. It can stop us from returning to the immortal divine nation. The strange space completely enveloped the entire planet, and some of the onlookers were also sealed inside. When they saw the experts from Dragon Palace, the shock they felt was no less than the experts from Tianshan Sword Sect. 5 7th Order Immortal God Kings from Dragon Palace rushed out. With such strength, how could they be stuck at the entrance of the planet a month ago? Why would the other planets dare to seal Dragon Palace with such strength? Dragon Palace, I didn't expect you to be hiding your strength. Do you think we are afraid of you just because you have 5 Immortal God Kings? When the other 3 Immortal God Kings of our Tianshan Sword Sect arrive, you will pay the price. An old ancestor of Tianshan Sword Sect roared with a dark face. Hehe. Do you think the other experts from your Tianshan Sword Sect will come and save you? Aochi looked at them mockingly. Don't worry, you will all be together on the way to the Yellow Springs. What? Hehe, such a childish trick to shake the army's morale. Do you think you can kill us with just your Dragon Palace? An old ancestor of Tianshan Sword Sect said coldly. Not only you, but also 9th grade Heavenly Sect, Monster Slayer Sect, 3 Seas Sect, Black Forest Group, and Jianhua Group. Don't worry, you won't feel lonely. Ao Xingmu floated in the void and said faintly. Don't worry, we have all the time in the world to chat with you. Why don't you wait and see if there are any experts coming to support you? Roving Heavens said coldly with the ocean pacifying godly needle in his hand. You, the 2 old ancestors of Tianshan Sword Sect looked uncertain. They weren't sure of their word. Is this real or fake? It might be real. 9th grade Heavenly Sect's business planet was also attacked. Does the Dragon Palace really have so many experts to deal with the 6 forces? If they had the strength, why didn't they make a move earlier? When the surrounding experts who were enveloped in the black hole space disruption array heard these words, their faces were filled with shock and suspicion. Kill them. Below, the Dragon Palace members locked onto the 100 Immortal God Kings of Sky Mountain Sword Sect and launched another attack. Under such circumstances, all the experts of Tianshan Sword Sect would be killed in at most 10 minutes. Oh no. Stop. The expressions of the 2 ancestral masters of Heavenly Mountain Sword Sect changed drastically. Boom boom boom. However, just as they finished their words, Roving Heavens and the rest dashed over. Kill, kill, kill. The eyes of the 2 elders from Tianshan Sword Sect narrowed as they gritted their teeth and roared. Boom boom boom. The incomparably formidable power of law caused the void to tremble slightly. The expressions of everyone in the black hole changed drastically. Break the formation. Suddenly, a master of Sky Mountain Sword Sect in the center yelled with all his might. Whoosh. A figure flew up into the sky and stared at the strange array formation. The 2 masters of Sky Mountain Sword Sect understood that the 5 7th Order Immortal God King realm experts and the rest of the God Kings were no match for them. If they continued fighting, they would definitely be the ones to die. Therefore, they could only escape. Break the formation and escape. Under the surprise attack of the experts of Dragon Palace, they charged out and attacked the formation. An elder of Sky Mountain Sword Sect is trying to break the formation. It's good that it's broken. I don't feel safe in this strange array formation. The surrounding God Kings whispered to each other. Ah! In the next moment, a scream of despair sounded. What? Everyone looked on in shock, staring at the position in the sky above. In the sky, a black and white shadow appeared behind that old ancestor of Sky Mountain Sword Sect. The black and white shadow's claws pierced through his body, causing his body to stiffen in the air. The old ancestor of Sky Mountain Sword Sect widened his eyes in disbelief. Large amounts of blood spewed out from his mouth as his life force rapidly dissipated. He, trying to break the formation and escape. Below, roving heavens and the rest sneered. His desperate attempt to break the formation would give roving demon, who had been hiding in the void, a chance to assassinate him. Why does your dragon palace have so many 7th order immortal god king realm experts? In order to kill us, you actually sent 6 of them. The other old ancestor of Sky Mountain Sword sect widened his eyes as he screamed in fear. One of his good brothers was killed, and the dragon palace sent 6 7th order immortal god king realm experts. Now, he did not have the strength to resist. Such a huge difference in strength made him feel despair. Even if I die, I will drag some of them down with me. His eyes were slowly covered in blood as he stared at the ground below. He moved, intending to kill the rest of the God King realm experts of Dragon Palace. We are all here. If we let you kill the other members, wouldn't that be slapping your own face? Ao Xingmu waved his arm, and thorny vines blocked Roving Heaven's path as he stared at him coldly. Kill him, don't waste time. Roving Heavens said faintly as he charged over. No, I'm not willing. That old ancestor of Sky Mountain Sword sect roared with grief and indignation. However, what welcomed him was the frenzied attacks of Roving Heavens and the rest. 30 seconds later, Roving Demon's figure appeared behind him. The old ancestor of Sky Mountain Sword sect was dead. Roving Heavens and the rest looked at the ongoing battle below and swept the sea-steadying godly needle in their hand. In less than 10 seconds, the battle below had ended. Over 100 immortal god kings had all died here. Remove the formation and prepare to take over Sky Mountain Sword sect's planet. Ao Xingmu looked around and said to the Fire Hammer Old Patriarch. All right. The old patriarch smiled and nodded. With a wave of his arm, the formation disappeared completely. SSS. This. Is Sky Mountain Sword sect finished? Everyone looked at this scene in disbelief. At this moment, on the planet of Sky Mountain Sword sect, an array enveloped the planet. Before long, the array disappeared gradually. The planet of Sky Mountain Sword sect was already in ruins. In the middle of the crater, there were 3 corpses lying on the ground. The one in the middle had a blood sword beside him. He was the Sword King, an arrogant, berserk, and powerful Sword King. Chapter 2602. Not only the Tianshan Sword sect, but the planets of the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect were also in ruins. All the disciples of the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect were killed. In the sky above the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect, a group of Dragon Palace experts hovered above, looking down emotionlessly at the planets below. The entire planet of the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect had been destroyed. Similarly, all the disciples of the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect had been annihilated. The headquarters of the Jianhua Group and Black Forest Group were also destroyed. The flames of war had spread across half of the South Star system. The Dragon Palace's swift and decisive attack had caught the 6 major forces off guard. From the start of the battle to the end, not even half an hour had passed. Dragon King, the 6 major forces have been dealt with. All the Immortal King Realm experts, 5th Order and 6th Order Immortal King Realm experts have been killed. In the Dragon Palace, Wang Xian received Prime Minister Turtle's report. He wasn't surprised by the outcome. The Dragon Palace had sent out a total of 37th Order Immortal King Realm experts. It was too easy to kill 9 7th Order Immortal King Realm expert. The 6 major forces have disappeared from this part of the universe. This is the consequence of provoking the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian murmured, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Order all the disciples of the Dragon Palace to occupy all the planets of the 6 major forces. He stood up slowly and ordered Prime Minister Turtle. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle nodded immediately. Soon, the experts of Dragon Palace led the disciples of Dragon Palace and flew out. When the disciples of the Dragon Palace arrived at a nearby planet, the experts on the planet were stunned, shocked, and fearful. The Dragon Palace is now invading the planets of the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect and Tianshan Sword Sect. What's going on? I don't know, but the results should be out soon. Seeing the disciples of the Dragon Palace leaving, everyone on the planet asked in shock. Look at the information on the smart computer. Look. At this moment, an exclamation came from the side, full of shock. Heh! How is this possible? This is impossible. The Dragon Palace destroyed all the experts of the Tianshan commercial planet and Grade 9 Heavenly Sect. Hiss, this is unbelievable. The Dragon Palace killed all the experts from the Tianshan Sword Sect. Someone even said on the artificial intelligence system that the Dragon Palace destroyed the stars of the Sky Mountain Sword Sect and the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect. Oh my god, this is unbelievable. Shocked voices could be heard. Everyone looked at the information on the AI in disbelief. A month ago, the Dragon Palace was besieged by the 6 major forces. Who would believe that they had wiped out the Tianshan Sword Sect and the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect? If they really had such strength, would the 6 forces dare to offend the Dragon Palace? They couldn't believe the information on the smart brain, but the clear images on the smart brain attacked their souls. Hiss, look at the announcement from the Dragon Palace. Look. At this moment, another inconceivable roar rang out. The Dragon Palace really annihilated the 6 factions, and almost all 3,000 undying God Kings of the 6 factions were killed. 9 7th Order Immortal God King Realm experts from the 2 forces died, and not a single 5th Order or 6th Order God King managed to escape. Who would believe that the Dragon Palace is capable of such a feat? What kind of strength does the Dragon Palace have now? It's only been 2 hours since the incident on the Tianshan Commerce planet. News of the 6 factions' annihilation is already here. Everyone was shocked. The Dragon Palace had announced on the AI that the Tianshan Sword Sect, the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect, the 3 Seas Sect, the Jianhua Corporation, the Black Forest Group, and the Monster Slayer Sect wanted to annihilate the Dragon Palace. The Dragon Palace had killed all the experts of the 6 factions, and was now in control of the 6 factions' planet. From the siege of the Dragon Star a month ago, to the ambush on the Tianshan Commerce planet 2 hours ago, and now the Dragon Palace had announced the annihilation of the 6 faction. The news left them in disbelief and shock. The change was too fast, so fast that they couldn't accept it. Some of the stronger forces in the Southern Star System were shocked when they received the news. Head to the Tianshan Commerce planet, the Tianshan Sword Sect's planet, the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect's planet, and the Grade 9 Heavenly Sect's planet immediately. The forces gave their orders. If the 6 great forces were really annihilated, it would be a huge matter. It would mean that the Dragon Palace had the strength to sweep through the entire Southern Star System. It meant that no other force in the Southern Star System could compare to the Dragon Palace. If that was really the case, they would immediately bring their specialties and treasures to the Dragon Palace to congratulate the Dragon Palace for annihilating the 6 faction. Just as everyone was discussing the news on the AI, a voice rang out. Congratulations to the Dragon Palace for annihilating the 6 factions. The 6 factions have committed grave sins. Congratulations to the Dragon Palace, congratulations to the Dragon King. In the future, the Dragon Palace will be the king of the Southern Star System. Congratulations to the Dragon Palace for annihilating the Tianshan Sword Sect, Grade 9 Heavenly Sect, and the rest. In the future, our North Gate Immortal Dynasty will worship the Dragon King as the king. An hour later, 2 pieces of information appeared on the intelligence system, shocking everyone. The North Gate Immortal Dynasty and the Sky Eagle Cloud Corporation were 2 of the top 4 factions in the Southern Star System. Their strength was not any weaker than the Tianshan Sword Sect and Grade 9 Heavenly Sect. When the AI sent the news, the experts of the 2 factions immediately headed to the Tianshan Sword Sect and Grade 9 Heavenly Sect to investigate. With their combined strength, the speed of their investigation was much faster. In an hour, they received a few pieces of news. On the Tianshan Sword Sect's business planet, the Dragon Palace sent out 6 7th Order Immortal King Realm experts to kill the 2 ancestors of the Tianshan Sword Sect. On the Rank 9 Heavenly Sect's business planet, the Dragon Palace sent out 3 Immortal King Realm experts to kill the ancestors of Grade 9 Heavenly Sect. These 2 pieces of news were very clear to them. The other 2 pieces of news were that the Tianshan Sword Sect's and Grade 9 Heavenly Sect's planets were enveloped by powerful arrays. When the arrays disappeared, all the disciples on the planets were killed. It was suspected that all the 7th Order Immortal King Realm experts of the Tianshan Sword Sect and Grade 9 Heavenly Sect were dead. When the Sky Eagle Cloud Corporation and the Northgate Immortal Dynasty received these two pieces of news, their faces were filled with shock. In at most an hour, the Dragon Palace had annihilated the Tianshan Sword Sect and Grade 9 Heavenly Sect. As for the other four factions, they sent people to investigate and found that they were all dead. What kind of power was this? Just 2 business planets. In order to kill 3 7th Order Immortal King Realm experts, they sent out 9 7th Order Immortal King Realm expert. Then how many 7th Order Immortal King Realm experts did the Dragon Palace have? They did not know the exact number, but they knew that this force was enough to wipe out all the other factions in the Southern Star System. The Dragon Palace was the strongest existence in this region. Chapter 2603, SSS. Heavenly Eagle Group and Northgate Immortal Dynasty's announcement. This is submission. Heavenly Eagle Group and Northgate Immortal Dynasty must have received some news. Otherwise, why would they issue such an announcement and congratulate us like this? Looks like Dragon Palace really wiped out the 6 major forces in just a few hours. SSS, I can't imagine how powerful Dragon Palace is. Even Heavenly Eagle Group and Northgate Immortal Dynasty submitted. Dragon Palace will be the king of the entire Xingnan Galaxy in the future. Heavenly Eagle Group and Northgate Immortal Dynasty congratulated Dragon Palace directly on the artificial intelligence system, declaring Dragon Palace as the king and Dragon King as the supreme ruler. This news had shocked everyone. What kind of power could make 2 major forces submit directly? But one thing was for sure. Dragon Palace really wiped out Tianshan Sword Sect, Grade 9 Heaven Sect, and the other 4 major forces. Just as everyone was discussing in shock, the artificial intelligence system announced one after another. All the experts of Jianhua Group and Black Forest Group were killed, and many immortal god kings were killed. The planet where Tianshan Sword Sect was located was almost in ruins. None of the experts of Tianshan Sword Sect survived. According to reliable sources, all the experts and disciples of Grade 9 Heaven Sect were wiped out by Dragon Palace. As the news spread, the entire Xingnan Galaxy was boiling. Even if they could basically guess that the Dragon Palace had annihilated the 6 major forces, they were still shocked when they heard the exact news. This is all true. At the same time, on the 9 planets above Dragonstar, all the experts and disciples of the chaotic Tiger Demon Kingdom were looking at the information on the artificial intelligence system in shock. They slightly opened their mouths. They didn't know about Dragon Palace's actions, so they couldn't react to the sudden news. Is this true? Dragon Palace has already wiped out the 6 major forces? In a palace on Dragonstar, all the higher-ups of the chaotic Tiger Demon Kingdom gathered together and looked at the information in shock. I've already asked Prime Minister Turtle. The experts of Dragon Palace have already wiped out the 6 major forces and are now taking over the planets of the 6 major forces. The Dragon King said that we should pick some planets. The king of the chaotic Tiger Demon Kingdom pursed his lips and said. The surroundings were dead silent. In the beginning, they had some opinions about Dragon Palace provoking Tianshan Sword Sect. However, Dragon Palace had treated them well, and they weren't ungrateful people. Therefore, they did not say anything and were willing to bear the burden with the Dragon Palace. They had even made preparations for a long war with the 6 major forces in the future. However, in just 1 month, the Dragon Palace suddenly destroyed them, and the other 2 forces directly declared that the Dragon Palace was the king. This simply left them in a daze. Once the Dragon Palace became the king of the Southern Star System, the status of the chaotic Tiger Demon Kingdom would rise accordingly. After all, they had gone through thick and thin with the Dragon Palace in times of crisis. As long as the Dragon Palace existed in the future, who wouldn't give face to the chaotic Tiger Demon Kingdom? Everyone from the Tiger Chaos Demonic Kingdom was overjoyed. Outside, the disciples of the chaotic Tiger Demon Kingdom were roaring with excitement. Soon, their chaotic Tiger Demon Kingdom would rise. In the next few days, the experts of Dragon Palace led their disciples to the planets of the 6 superpowers and occupied all the oceans. As for the people of the 6 major forces on the planet, they were all terrified. Those who were powerful and had god stones went to the Dragon Palace one by one to send congratulatory gifts and treasures. When the 1,000+ planets were all pacified, Wang Xian entered each planet to build the Dragon Palace. As for the chaotic Tiger Demon Kingdom, they chose 100 planets from the 1,000+ planets as their base and territory. This made all the heavenly demons in the chaotic Tiger Demon Kingdom extremely excited. Dragon Star, open up again. On the 4th day, Wang Xian said to Prime Minister Turtle and the rest. The Dragon Palace opened up again. This time, the Dragon Star was connected to all the major planets in the Southern Star System. Even the Heavenly Eagle Commercial Planet and the North Gate Commercial Planet had teleportation arrays. This was the only planet with the most teleportation arrays in the Southern Star System. Naturally, no one doubted the security of the Dragon Star. Dragon King, the Heavenly Eagle Cloud Group, the North Gate Immortal Celestial Dynasty, and some other forces would like to pay a visit to the Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle said to Wang Xian with a smile. Oh, is that so? Then let's meet them when the Dragon Star opens up. Wang Xian smiled and said plainly. With the current strength of the Dragon Palace, the other forces in the Southern Star System were no longer a threat. The Dragon Palace had 31 7th Order Immortal King Realm experts. Including him, there were 32 of them. With such strength, even if the 6 major forces were not annihilated, the entire Southern Star System would not be a match for them. However, Wang Xian would not reject their goodwill. The development principle of the Dragon Palace had always been to not provoke others. Even if others took the initiative to provoke the Dragon Palace would not be afraid. The Dragon Star will open up again tomorrow. At that time, the Heavenly Eagle Cloud Group, the North Gate Immortal Celestial Dynasty, and other forces will pay a visit to the Dragon King. As the safest planet in the Southern Star System, the commercial planet of the Dragon Palace will open up again tomorrow. I must go and take a look. Sob sob sob, I used to have my own house on the Dragon Star. In the end, I returned it. Now, the property prices on the Dragon Star have increased by dozens of times. Or 100 times. Stop talking. I'm about to vomit blood now. Back then, I bought a shop on the Dragon Star and returned it. If I had known this would happen, I would have died with the Dragon Palace. The news of the opening of the Dragon Star caused quite a stir. After all, the defense of the Dragon Star was too terrifying. In addition, experts from various forces expressed their intention to pay a visit to the Dragon King of the Dragon Palace. Naturally, it caused quite a stir. The opening of the Dragon Star attracted everyone's attention. After all, the defense of the Dragon Star and the strength of the Dragon Palace were too strong. The Dragon Star would be the center of the Southern Star System next. Almost all the forces in the Southern Star System would be coming. Sister Bei Shuang, you have been in your room for more than half a month. Tomorrow, the North Gate Eternal Celestial Dynasty will be heading to the Dragon Star. Are you going? At the same time, in a palace of the North Gate Eternal Celestial Dynasty, a girl came to a courtyard and shouted into a room. Nope. A cold voice was heard. Sister Bei Shuang, let's go together. A powerful and invincible force has been born in our Southern Star System. The North Gate Eternal Celestial Dynasty needs to pay a visit. I heard that the leader of that force is very young and handsome, the girl said as she walked into the room. On the bed in the room, a short-haired girl was sitting cross-legged. When she saw the girl coming in, she opened her eyes. Xiaoyun, don't disturb my cultivation, the short-haired girl said. Let's go, Sister Bei Shuang. You will feel suffocated if you stay in the room all the time. You have been here for more than a month and haven't gone out yet. It's good to go out for a walk. The girl walked over and held her arm as she said. The short-haired girl hesitated for a moment. Looking at the abyssal crystal in her hand that was about to be completely absorbed, she nodded hesitantly. Chapter 2604. So this is Dragon Planet. The spiritual chi here is higher than other planets. There are so many people here. That's the people from Sky Eagle Cloud Corporation. Hiss, even the higher-ups of Sky Eagle Cloud Corporation are here. Pay attention to your surroundings. Immortal King experts are everywhere. There are at least a few hundred of them around here. Today, all kinds of forces are here. I estimate that there are at least 4,000 to 5,000 Immortal King expert. When Dragon Planet opened up again on the second day, disciples, and experts from other planets in the South Star Galaxy all rushed to Dragon Planet. A shocking war was about to take place, and the birth of a true king. As the Dragon Planet created by the Dragon Palace, it was the planet with the strongest defense in the entire South Star Galaxy. Naturally, it attracted the attention of countless people. Not to mention, all the major forces of the South Star Galaxy were here to visit the Dragon Palace and the Dragon King. Almost half of the Immortal King experts of the South Star Galaxy were here today. Behave yourselves here. Don't cause trouble. The higher-ups of the Sky Eagle Cloud Corporation led the core disciples to Dragon Planet through the teleportation point. An old man in front of them reminded them. Yes, General Manager. The rest nodded. They naturally did not dare to cause trouble here. Otherwise, even the Sky Eagle Cloud Corporation would not be able to protect them. It was also their first time coming to Dragon Planet. They looked around curiously and walked towards the place where the Dragon Palace had received them. At the teleportation point, more and more forces arrived. As they walked in, Immortal King experts could be seen everywhere. Wow, this Dragon Planet looks not bad. It's even better than our North Gate business planet. At the teleportation point, a group of 500 to 600 people walked out. At the front was the Emperor of the North Gate Immortal Dynasty, the Old Great Emperor, and the rest of the expert. Behind them were the most outstanding gods' sons and daughters of the North Gate Immortal Dynasty. Sister Bei Shuang, look at this planet. Is it better than the planets on the Demon Island? At the back, a girl asked the short-haired girl next to her. Her eyes were looking around curiously. It's better than some of the planets on the Demon Island. The short-haired girl, Bei Shuang, looked around and said lightly. Compared to before, she was in a much better mood now. Although she had been banished here by the sect because she had used some abyssal crystals without permission, she was very excited to take that step. This was also the reason why she was willing to come here with the girls to relax. Is that so? This is a planet created by the Dragon Palace. Sister Beishuang, you have no idea how powerful the Dragon Palace is. In such a short period of time, it has destroyed two forces that were as powerful as our Dongmen Immortal Celestial Dynasty. This planet is also incomparably powerful. I heard that the Dragon Palace's Dragon Palace looks very young and is a handsome man. Hee hee. The girl said excitedly, we should be able to see the Dragon King in a while. Bei Shuang smiled when she heard this. She was already close to 40,000 years old and had passed the age of infatuation. Follow behind. An expert in front said. The group of people immediately followed and walked forward. North Gate Emperor, Your Majesty. The group of people came to a banquet hall. When the experts of some forces saw them coming in, they immediately greeted respectfully. The Emperor of the North Gate Immortal God Dynasty nodded. Director Tian, you guys are quite early. The North Gate Emperor looked ahead as he spoke to Eagle Cloud and the rest of the expert. Haha, we've just arrived too. The CEO of Eagle Cloud Group laughed heartily. The North Gate Immortal God Dynasty and Eagle Cloud Group were rather familiar with each other. In fact, in the past, the relationship between the four major forces of the South Star system was considered average. Hence, they understood each other. Since both parties knew each other well, they were able to strike up a conversation. When the North Gate Immortal God Dynasty group arrived, there were already 7,000 to 8,000 people gathered in the palace. Among them were experts and core disciples of various forces. At a glance, there were 3,000 to 4,000 Immortal King Realm expert. Before long, the group of experts from the Tiger Demon Empire also arrived. When they saw the experts from the Tiger Demon Empire, they immediately went over to chat. Even the North Gate Immortal God Dynasty and Eagle Cloud Group went over to chat passionately. This made the experts from the Tiger Demon Empire flushed with pride. Dragon King, time's up. At noon, Prime Minister Turtle whispered to Wang Xian. All right. Wang Xian nodded. He gestured to the members of the Dragon Palace beside him and flew towards the guest hall. The Dragon King is here. At this time, the old state preceptor of the Tiger Demon Empire sensed something and looked out. Inside the palace, the voices immediately quieted down as the experts looked outside. Looking over, a group of more than 10 people walked into the palace. The leader, Wang Xian, was dressed in a 7-colored dragon robe and exuded a majestic aura. A faint dragon aura spread to the surroundings, shocking all the experts present. Prime Minister Turtle, Roving Sword, Roving Heavens, and the rest followed behind. All of them were 7th-level Immortal King Realm experts, and their bodies contained violent aura. When everyone saw Wang Xian and his group, their hearts skipped a beat. Greetings, Dragon King. The experts from the North Gate Immortal God Dynasty and Sky Eagle Cloud Group immediately bowed and greeted. Greetings, Dragon King. The rest of the forces quickly cupped their fists and greeted. However, in the North Gate Immortal God Dynasty, when Bei Shuang, who was at the back, saw Wang Xian's face, her body trembled with excitement. She stared at Wang Xian with slight trembling. Sister Bei Shuang, this Dragon King is very handsome, but you can't keep staring at him. It's impolite. A girl at the side saw Bei Shuang's expression and immediately transmitted her voice to her. Don't stand on ceremony, everyone. Wang Xian swept his gaze across the crowd and suddenly noticed someone's gaze. He looked over and raised his eyebrows slightly. Congratulations, Dragon King, for annihilating the 6 major forces. Congratulations. In the future, if the Dragon King has any orders in the Southern Star System, the Sky Eagle Cloud Group will do our best. The CEO of the Sky Eagle Cloud Group looked at the experts behind Wang Xian and was shocked. He walked over and surrendered. The North Gate Immortal God Dynasty also respects the Dragon Palace and the Dragon King. We hope to coexist peacefully with the Dragon Palace. The North Gate Emperor also walked over with a smile and said immediately, the Dragon Palace has always adhered to the principle that if others don't provoke us, we won't provoke others. If we can be friends, we won't be enemies. Wang Xian smiled, walked to the chair at the front and sat down. Everyone, please take a seat. He waved to the crowd. Great. The forces heaved a sigh of relief when they heard Wang Xian's words and sat down beside him with smiles. Sister Bei Shuang, please sit down. At the front of the line, the girl saw Bei Shuang standing there in a daze and tugged on her arm. Bei Shuang bit her lip, walked forward, and knelt on the ground under the shocked gaze of the girl. Dragon King, Senior. I want to be your disciple. Chapter 2605, Dragon King, Senior. I want to be your disciple. Bei Shuang walked forward and knelt on the ground with a trembling body. She looked at Wang Xian with determination. She suddenly walked out and knelt on the ground, wanting to be his disciple. Everyone in the hall was slightly shocked, and their faces were filled with astonishment. The experts from the North Gate Eternal Celestial Dynasty were shocked when they saw this scene. Bei Shuang, get up. What are you doing? The North Gate Emperor was shocked when he saw her suddenly wanting to be the Dragon King's disciple. The North Gate Eternal Celestial Dynasty was once established by a few disciples of the North Gate Eternal Celestial Dynasty who made mistakes. Although they were not affiliated with the North Gate Eternal Celestial Dynasty, they were still related. The North Gate Eternal Celestial Dynasty was once established by a few disciples of the North Gate Eternal Celestial Dynasty who made mistakes. Although they were not affiliated with the North Gate Eternal Celestial Dynasty, they were still related. 1 month ago, an elder of the North Gate Eternal Celestial Dynasty sent a girl to them and ordered her to guard them. She was not allowed to leave their territory. The North Gate Eternal Celestial Dynasty naturally could not refuse. They naturally knew about this girl who was once dazzling and invincible. Back then, she was so brilliant that she even attracted the attention of the imperial court. Even the strongest divine son of the imperial court had to ask their Laozu for a marriage. However, she disappeared like a meteor. After tens of thousands of years, she finally became an ordinary cultivator. Now, she wanted to be the Dragon King's disciple. What was going on? The North Gate Emperor was shocked and embarrassed at the same time. What a coincidence. Wang Xian sized up the girl kneeling in front of him and said emotionlessly. When he saw this girl more than a month ago, he was shocked by her origin source body. Back then, this girl wanted to be his disciple, but he did not agree. Now, they met again after a month. Was it fate? He chuckled softly. Dragon King, I will never forget your guidance. Please accept me as your disciple. Bei Shuang knelt on the ground and kowtowed. She clenched her fist and said. Wang Xian looked at her with hesitation. A origin source body of frost was indeed rare, but he did not want to accept a disciple. Get up. I have no intention of accepting a disciple for now. Given your talent, you just need to focus on your cultivation. Wang Xian waved his hand and ordered him to stand up. Then, he spoke plainly. Dragon King. Am I not qualified? I want to acknowledge you as my master. Bei Shuang's expression changed slightly as she pleaded with Wang Xian with reddened eyes. Accepting disciples is too troublesome. I'm not going to accept any. Wang Xian shook his head. Bei Shuang, come here. Sister Bei Shuang. When the Northgate Emperor saw that Bei Shuang had met the Dragon King before, he was slightly surprised. When the Dragon King rejected him, he immediately shouted at her. The girl behind her also walked over and grabbed her arm. Bei Shuang clenched her teeth, lowered her head, and walked to the back. Dragon King, I'm really sorry. This disciple of our Northgate lost his composure. The Northgate Emperor quickly apologized to Wang Xian Dao. I'm fine. Wang Xian waved his hand nonchalantly. He was rather impressed by such a tenacious girl. Following that, one faction after another presented their treasures and chatted enthusiastically with them. They did not know the exact strength of the Dragon Palace, but there were more than 10 7th-order Immortal God King realm experts following behind the Dragon King. With such strength, no force in the South Star Galaxy would be a match for the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian chatted with them for more than an hour and left after lunch. When the rest of the forces saw that the Dragon King was so easygoing, they heaved a sigh of relief. Sister Bei Shuang, where are you going? After the banquet ended, Bei Shuang walked out of the palace and immediately flew towards the east. The girl beside her was slightly shocked and immediately shouted at her. Bei Shuang did not reply and flew straight ahead. Go and follow her. The Northgate Emperor frowned slightly and ordered the expert beside him helplessly. Yes, Emperor. An immortal god king immediately followed behind him. TSK TSK TSK, our great Dragon King is in luck again. There's a beauty kneeling in front of the Dragon Star Palace, asking to be his disciple. Before long, the Emperor Star Princess walked over from the Dragon King Hall in the main Dragon Palace and teased Wang Xian. Huh? Wang Xian raised an eyebrow. Dragon King, there's a girl from the Northgate Immortal Dynasty kneeling in front of the Dragon Star Palace, asking to be your disciple. At this time, Prime Minister Turtle, who was following behind, reported. Xiao Xian. Do you know that girl? Tang Yinxian, who was beside the Emperor Star Princess, asked curiously. I've given her guidance once. Wang Xian nodded his head. TSK TSK, she's set on you after just one guidance. The Dragon King is really charming. The Emperor Star Princess continued to mock him. Her talent is much better than yours. With the ice source body, as long as she has the cultivation method, she'll definitely become the pinnacle expert in the universe in the future. Wang Xian looked at the Emperor Star Princess and said speechlessly. TSK, so you're saying that I'm not as good as her? The Emperor Star Princess said with dissatisfaction. You're not on the same level. Wang Xian said mercilessly. TSK, who are you looking down on? The Emperor Star Princess pouted her lips and stared at him unhappily. Sigh. She's already so old and yet she's not even at the Divine King realm. Who do you think I'm looking down on? Wang Xian laughed. Alright, Xiao Xian, stop angering the Emperor Star Princess. Tang Yinxian interrupted him with a smile and asked, are you going to accept her as your disciple? Tang Yinxian knew a little about the ice source body. The strongest physique in the universe, the ice source body, was even stronger than ordinary physique. I didn't expect someone to kneel outside just to be my disciple. Wang Xian smiled and looked at Prime Minister Turtle. Bring her to the Dragon Star Dragon Palace. I'll make a trip there. As he spoke, he moved and teleported to the Dragon Star Dragon Palace. Let's go, Yinxian. Let's go and have a look to prevent him from cheating. The Emperor Star Princess followed behind with great interest. Master, you're willing to accept me as your disciple? When Bei Shuang was brought into the Dragon Palace in Dragonstar, she saw Wang Xian and asked excitedly. How are you? Seeing that you're so sincere, I'll accept you. You have a senior brother who's much younger than you. He's only in his 30s this year. He's not here now, but I'll bring him over in the near future. I'll bring you to the main dragon palace later. Cultivate well and raise your strength to the 4th or 5th order immortal king realm first. You have a strong foundation, and there shouldn't be any obstacles before you reach 4th or 5th order immortal king realm. Wang Xian said to her. This made the Emperor Star Princess, who had just entered, gape. She was still a long way from reaching the 4th or 5th order immortal king realm. How could a random female disciple that this guy took in be so powerful? Thank you, Master. Thank you, Master. Bei Shuang was so emotional that she wanted to kneel before Wang Xian. However, Wang Xian stopped her with his energy. Chapter 2606. Sister Bei Shuang has really been accepted as a disciple by the Dragon Palace? Outside the Dragon Palace, the girl from the North Gate Immortal Dynasty could not help but exclaim in shock. Yes, please inform the Emperor that I will be cultivating in the Dragon Palace from now on. Bei Shuang nodded and said to her. She looked at the deity king of the North Gate Immortal Dynasty, then waved at the girl and entered the Dragon Palace. The girl opened her mouth, her face filled with shock. Huh! Miss Bei Shuang has really been accepted as a disciple by the Dragon King? Very quickly, the North Gate Emperor received the news, and his face revealed a shocked expression. Then, he slightly frowned. Accepting the Dragon King as a disciple is beneficial for our North Gate Immortal Dynasty. But what about Bei Chuan sect? He murmured with hesitation. Just inform Bei Chuan sect. Bei Shuang is not as important as before. Bei Chuan sect will probably not care about her anymore. An old man from the North Gate Immortal Dynasty said. That's true. The North Gate Emperor nodded. Bei Shuang was sent to their side, which meant that Bei Chuan sect had completely given up on her. The news of Bei Shuang being accepted as a disciple of the Dragon King did not attract much attention. After the war, the Dragon Palace became completely low-key, and the Dragon Star became completely prosperous. Half a year passed in a blink of an eye. Dragon Star had become the center of the South Star Galaxy. On this day, Wang Xian brought Hua Cai Xiaoran, and the rest over. The arrival of the two girls made the entire Dragon Palace livelier. Hua and Cai stuck to Wang Xian all day long. This made Emperor Star Maiden a little dumbfounded. She called Wang Xian a beast. In the South Star Galaxy, the Dragon Palace had an absolute position. The resources that the Dragon Palace received every day were also terrifying. Every day, the Dragon Palace would have an immortal God King. The strength of the Dragon Palace had also improved by leaps and bounds. Be careful when you enter. AO2, you'd better defend. An 8th order immortal God King abyss species is not easy to deal with. A year later, Wang Xian led a group of experts from the Dragon Palace to the front of the gigantic peak in the abyss and spoke to them. Let's go. Yes, Dragon King. There was a total of 42 7th order immortal God King realm experts. Including Wang Xian himself, the Dragon Palace had sent out all their expert. Other than that, there were 156th order immortal God King realm expert. 1.5 years later, Wang Xian returned to this place again. This time, Wang Xian wanted to break through this abyssal peak and obtain the treasures within. After annihilating the 6 major forces, the Dragon Palace obtained all their resources. Their resources allowed the Dragon Palace to gain 11 7th order immortal king realm experts and 56th order immortal king realm expert. As for Wang Xian, he had also obtained a large amount of resources from the Eternal Kingdoms and treasure vaults of the 6 major forces. Unfortunately, these resources were not enough to raise it to the next level. However, it wasn't too far away from leveling up. Go! Wang Xian let out a soft cry and entered the giant peak directly. With the Dragon Palace's strength, even if there were 4 8th order immortal king realm existences inside, they would still be able to hold their ground. Of course, if there were really 4 of them, it would be difficult for the Dragon Palace to conquer this place. However, according to his previous investigation, there was only 1 8th order immortal God King realm abyss species inside. As long as I can break through this place, the fruit of that giant tree should be able to raise my combat strength to the 8th order immortal king realm. At the same time, the Dragon Palace will have 1 more 8th order immortal king realm expert. he murmured to himself as his eyes shone with hope. Wang, Wang, Wang. Beside him, Tianjin took out several array compasses and waved them in the air. Dragon King, according to my investigation, there's only one 8th order immortal king realm existence inside, and 15 7th order immortal king realm existence here. Tianjin said slowly. Not bad, old man Tianjin, you're amazing. Mo Sha gave him a thumbs up. Little brat, show some respect to the elderly, especially when you can't beat them. Tianjin said emotionlessly. Hee, relying on your age, I'll beat you up next time. Demon Fiend smiled and said with a chuckle. Alright, let's go in. Wang Xian chuckled. The group immediately entered the caves around the peak of the giant peak. 15 7th Order Immortal King Realm experts and 156th Order Immortal King Realm Abyss species will take care of that 8th Order Immortal King Realm Abyss species. Wang Xian said emotionlessly. Yes, Dragon King. 5 minutes at most, all done. The group of Dragon Palace members said confidently. Wang Wang Wang. In the next instant, the group flew downwards at a terrifying speed. Each of them locked onto an abyss species. At the bottom of the magma, the group of abyss species felt the arrival of the experts from Dragon Palace, and immediately came out from the magma. Even the 8th Order Immortal King Realm Abyss species revealed its head restlessly as it stared at Wang Xian and the rest with its bloodshot eyes. Kill. In the next instant, Wang Xian and the rest transformed into powerful dragons and let out roars. Wang Xian turned into a rainbow divine dragon as he swayed his gigantic body and attacked with his dragon claws. At this moment, the strength of Dragon Palace was on full display. The abyss species below let out a furious roar and charged forward. Kill. Given the strength of Dragon Palace, 10 7th Order Immortal King Realm 8 abyss species were enough to fight 8th Order Immortal King Realm 8 abyss species. Now, there were 25 7th Order Immortal King Realm 8 abyss species. Imperial Dragon species AO2 and the rest focused on defense. Arrow Dragon species Mao Zesen and the rest focused on long-range attacks. Mad Dragon species Roving Heavens and AO Chi focused on close combat. Roving Demon Spiked Dragon focused on killing. At the end, there was still the 8 Division Lords of Demonic Baleful and Poison. Dolphin species focused on support. Among them, there was AO Xingmu's Starwood Dragon species and AO Fenghuang's Heavenly Lightning Earthly Fire Dragon Phoenix species. Under such circumstances, Dragon Palace instantly suppressed all the abyss species. Alright, kill. Wang Xian saw the situation and revealed a smile. Based on this situation, as long as the 10 Dragon Palace members cooperated well, they could kill a 8th Order abyss species within half an hour, let alone 25 of them. Boom boom boom. The battle lasted for 4 minutes and the 8th Order Immortal King Realm 8 abyss species was killed by Roving Demon and Mao Zesen. Hehehe, that was easy. The 8 Division Lords saw the 8th Order Immortal King Realm 8 abyss species being killed and smiled. This 8th Order Immortal King Realm 8 abyss species corpse can raise one's battle strength to the 8th Order Immortal King Realm. You guys decide who's going to use it. Wang Xian laughed and said, Dragon King, I want it. I'll be the first to level up. Juniors, do you have any objections? Tianjin's eyes lit up as he asked. Taking advantage of your seniority, the 8 Division Lords scolded but no one objected. Chapter 2607. The rest of the members of the Dragon Palace would not have any objections to letting Tianjin enhance his strength first. Not to mention that Tianjin was a special type of dragon, he was also a Void God Emperor, a powerful array master. His enhancement would be more effective than the rest of the members of the Dragon Palace. In terms of defense, if he had enough time to set up a defense, he would be able to withstand the attacks of dozens of people of the same level. Haha, at least you juniors are sensible. When Tianjin heard them saying that he was taking advantage of his seniority, he laughed and started to take advantage of his seniority. TSK, no wonder you were killed by someone, Sky Formation. You're so annoying. Yamata no Orokai sneered. Now that I've evolved into a witch dragon, I'll be able to kill those guys who attacked me in the past easily in the future. When Tianjin heard his words, he said coldly, Haha, in a few years, we'll be able to kill those who tried to kill you easily. By then, you'll be able to enjoy your retirement. Demon Fiend said with a smile. Tianjin smiled and did not continue the conversation. Just like what Demon Fiend Orokai and the rest had said, given a few more years, Dragon Palace would be able to destroy even an Emperor God. By then, he might not even need to do anything. These guys in front of him, who he thought were not likable, would be able to avenge him. However, this was his own vengeance, and he would avenge it himself. Alright, let's go down and have a look. These abyss demons have been guarding this place, and many of them have taken the risk to come in. The fruits inside must be extraordinary. As Wang Xian spoke, he flew towards the bottom of the magma. The group of members of the Dragon Palace immediately followed him. After flying for a few minutes, the humongous tree appeared in their sight. A tree that lived in the magma, rooted at the bottom of the giant peak, looked extremely huge. The entire divine tree, according to Wang Xian's estimation, was at least hundreds of millions of kilometers wide. It was definitely a behemoth. On the giant tree, there were many dazzling red fruit. The fruits were 1 meter in size, huge in size. Wang Xian moved and came to the position of one of the fruit. Flame birch tree, level 9 divine tree of the immortal king realm. As he approached the giant tree, the system notification rang in Wang Xian's mind, slightly surprising him. A level 9 divine tree of the immortal king realm. This was a huge divine item. Flame birch fruit, undying god king rank 6 fruit. Looking at the fruit in front of him, information about the fruit appeared in his mind. He scanned the surroundings with his yin-yang 5 elements dragon eyes, his eyes shining. There are at least 1,000 fruits, and many of them are not fully ripe yet. But even so, the energy of these fruits is enough for me to upgrade myself. Wang Xian revealed a faint smile. With a swift move, he continued to descend. Hey! Dragon King, this sacred tree has completely fused with the giant peak. If we want to take this sacred tree away, I'm afraid we'll have to take the giant peak as well. Not far away, Ao Xingmu sensed the entire tree and said, "Really?" Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and went to the lowest position. This magma was created by this divine tree. It can only survive in this environment. I am currently communicating with it. Once it leaves this environment, it will suffer great damage. Ao Xingmu continued speaking to Wang Xian. "Oh, if that's the case, then let's take the entire peak with us," said Wang Xian. The incomparably huge peak was like an entire planet. If they wanted to take it away, they could do so too. Dragon King, we can turn the entire mountain peak into a powerful war machine. I can arrange powerful defensive and offensive formations on top of it. After I improve my strength, as long as I have enough divine stones, it won't be a problem for me to defend against more than a dozen 8th order immortal realm expert. Tianjin sized up the entire peak from the side. The holes were perfect for attacking. As the entire peak was fused with the level 9 immortal god king flame birch, it was exceptionally sturdy. He could turn it into a powerful war machine. That's totally doable, Dragon King. Our Firehammer tribe can also build powerful war machines on it, Duan Jinming and the old tribe leader said. The metal fire dragon species was the strongest dragon species in the Dragon Palace. Even if it wasn't the best in the entire universe, it would still be in the top 5. The massive war machines that they built could be described as large-scale and powerful divine weapons. Needless to say, their power was immense. War machines that can traverse the void. Wang Xian raised an eyebrow. In fact, the Dragon Palace was the most powerful war machine of the divine dragon tribe. However, it wasn't appropriate to bring the Dragon Palace to battle in the void. Building a war machine that belonged to the Dragon Palace was not a bad idea. Alright, I'll leave this to Tianjin and the Firehammer tribe. Wang Xian nodded and turned to the members of the Dragon Palace. Let's go, we'll bring this peak back. As he spoke, he flew out immediately. The members of the Dragon Palace followed closely behind, bringing the peak that was comparable to the stars towards the exit of the abyss. Although Wang Xian and the rest were carrying the humongous mountain, their speed was not greatly affected. 2 days later, they arrived at the entrance of the abyss. The entrance was large enough for them to bring the peak out. Ga ga ga. GGGG. Just as they arrived at the exit, an incomparably shocking voice suddenly came from the depths of the abyss. Heh! When Wang Xian and the rest heard the sound, they were shocked and immediately looked towards the abyss. What a terrifying sound! Some of the members of the Dragon Palace frowned slightly with a look of surprise on their faces. It should be a level 9 immortal king. It's the roar of an immortal king pinnacle abyss species. Tianjin's eyes flickered as he looked into the abyss. It's very, very far from here. Let's go and ignore it. Wang Xian took a quick glance and did not pay too much attention to it. The group brought Ju Feng and flew in the direction of the South Star Galaxy. After more than 10 hours, Wang Xian and the rest arrived at the vicinity of Dragonstar with the peak. Some of the experts on Dragonstar were shocked when they saw the incomparably huge mountain that the Dragon Palace brought over. Tianjin, go and improve your strength first. After that, we'll modify the peak. As Wang Xian spoke, he flew towards the Dragon Palace. After a long time, he could finally improve his strength. After the improvement, his strength could be considered as an overlord in the Imperial Star Domain. In the Dragon King Hall, Wang Xian swallowed the flame birch fruits and his dragon energy increased rapidly. Ding! Congratulations on leveling up to level 2 Immortal King. Chapter 2608. Within the Dragon King Hall, the roar of a dragon could be heard as a 25,000-meter-long divine dragon coiled inside. Name, Wang Xian. Race, Yin-Yang 5 Elements Dragon, one with the dragon. Level, 2nd Order Immortal King, 7th Transformation of Divine Dragon Transformation. Origin Mystic Art. Dominate marine creatures, can rule any marine creatures lower than your own level. Devour living beings. Devour living beings to extract origin energy. 5 Elements Control Art of Cultivation. Divine Dragon Transformation Mystic Arts. Soul Assimilation, Spiritual Attachment. Yin-Yang 5 Elements Dragon Eyes Laws. 5 Elements Grindstone, Dragon Country in the Palm, Dragon Head Descending, 10,000 Miles Dragon Body, Yin-Yang 2 Elements Bowl, Divine Dragon Tail. 2nd Order Immortal King. Wang Xian looked at his own attributes and revealed a faint smile. 2nd Order Immortal King Realm, 8th Order Immortal King Realm. Wang Xian felt like he could destroy a star with a casual wave of his hand. Xiao Xian, you've improved. Old Wang, you've improved. At this time, the girls and Hua walked in after sensing the commotion in the Dragon King Hall. When Wang Xian saw them entering, he transformed into his human form with a smile on his face. With an outsider like Emperor Star Maiden around, Wang Xian would not reveal himself. I've broken through. Wang Xian nodded at them with a smile. You've broken through? Doesn't that mean you have the strength of an 8th Order Immortal King? Are you the same as Senior Sky Array? Are you one of those fallen old monsters who dripped their blood to recultivate? Beside him, the Emperor Star Princess looked at Wang Xian from head to toe, her eyes filled with disbelief. How long has it been? When she first met this guy, was he a 3rd Order or 2nd Order Immortal King Realm? Now he's an 8th Order Immortal King Realm. With such strength, he would be someone who could control a region in the Imperial Court. You can't compare yourself to others, big sister. Wang Xian looked at Emperor Star Maiden and couldn't help but tease her. Emperor Star Maiden's expression changed, and she revealed a look of anger. She had been in the Dragon Palace for a few years and knew a little about Wang Xian. Although she wasn't sure of Wang Xian's age, she knew from Tang Yinxian and the rest that he was much younger than her. She found it hard to believe, but when she saw the terrifying speed of his improvement, she fell silent again. He turned his head and looked at Hua and Cai. These two girls had just come to the Dragon Palace a year ago. When they arrived, they were only at the 1st level of the Eternal Divine Master. Now, they were at the same level as him. You didn't even give me some fruits. She looked at the fruits on the dragon throne with a burning passion. She knew that each fruit had an incomparably terrifying effect. Wang Xian smiled and did not reply. After all, the Emperor Star Maiden was a member of the Imperial Court. Even if he were to give her fruits like the Eternal Pregnancy Fruit, he would only give it to her after she possessed the strength of an Emperor God. Otherwise, if the Imperial Court were to discover the effects of this heaven-defying fruit, it would bring disaster upon them. Let's go and celebrate. As he spoke, he led the group of girls to the Dragon Palace entertainment. Time passed day by day. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed since Wang Xian's advancement. Heavenly formation, Jinming, how's the construction going? Wang Xian came to a place not far from the Dragon Star starry sky. Looking at the towering mountain peak, he entered and said with a smile, Dragon King, it's almost done. In a few more days, it will be completed. As heavenly formation answered, he set up layers of array formations. A few months ago, after the breakthrough of heavenly formation, he had been building this war machine. For more than 2 months, he had not taken a break. Back when he was building Dragonstar, he did not spend so much time. It could be said that after this war machine was completed, even if Dragonstar's defense was activated, a light bump would shatter Dragonstar. Dragon King, we are almost done with the construction of the large-scale war equipment. A portion of it is specially made for the members of the Heaven's Eye Arrow unit to build the arrow platforms, Duan Jinming said with a smile. 6,000 to 7,000 members of the Fire Hammer clan had spent 3 months to build all kinds of war machines. As for the arrow platforms, they were specially prepared for the members of the Heaven's Eye Arrow unit. When the members of the Heaven's Eye Arrow unit stood on the arrow platforms and pulled back their arrows, they could create terrifying destructive power. After all, the arrows of the Arrow Dragon were extremely terrifying. Great. Wang Xian looked around with a satisfied look on his face. The war machines were extremely terrifying, especially the war machines built by heavenly formation. Just the various array formations were enough to shock people. However, if these war machines were to operate at full speed, the consumption would be terrifying. According to heavenly formation, 1 day of activation of all the array formations would require 3 days of Dragonstar's income. The divine stones that Dragonstar earned in a day was a huge figure. Now, the daily income of Dragonstar could increase the combat strength of 2 to 3 immortal God King members in the Dragon Palace. One could imagine the huge consumption. Of course, this consumption was within the acceptable range of the Dragon Palace. If the war machines were to operate for a day, they would be able to recoup the cost of killing enemies, or even a few hundred times more. This was also the reason why Wang Xian valued this war machine so much. Master. At this moment, a voice was heard and a figure flew over. Huh! Bei Shuang, what's the matter? Wang Xian looked at the figure flying over and asked. Since Bei Shuang became his disciple more than a year ago, Wang Xian had ordered her to cultivate in the Dragon Palace. With the support of sufficient resources, coupled with her strong foundation, her strength had risen to the 4th order immortal God King within a year. This strength was not bad at all. Master, something big has happened on the Demon Island. Bei Shuang flew over and said with a gloomy face. Demon Island? Wang Xian looked at her with doubt. Master, not long ago, the abyss expanded crazily and devoured thousands of planets. All the people on the planets were devoured by the abyss. Now, the abyss is still expanding at a horrifying speed. This is something that has never happened in tens of millions of years. All the forces on the Demon Island have joined forces to fight against the abyss, but they still suffered heavy losses. Our Beichuan sect has also suffered heavy losses. We are now recruiting all the disciples to help. Bei Shuang looked at him and said, You want to go there? Wang Xian looked at her and asked. Bei Shuang paused for a moment and said slowly, Although Beichuan sect has abandoned me, they have treated me well. I want to go there and contribute. Hehe, go if you want to. Wang Xian smiled and nodded at her. He did not think there was anything wrong with Bei Shuang going to the sect. If she did not care about the sect when it was in danger, he would have to consider the character of this disciple. Yes, master. If anything happens to Bei Shuang, I might not be able to repay your kindness. Bei Shuang said softly as she knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Wang Xian. Chapter 2609. Wang Xian watched Bei Shuang leave and did not give any further instructions. One had to choose his own path. Being a master is indeed troublesome. Wang Xian shook his head. Dragon King. At this time, Prime Minister Turtle flew over. Dragon King, something big happened on the Demon Island. Prime Minister Turtle reported. Let me take a look. Wang Xian said. The artificial intelligence system categorized the information according to the region. In other words, as long as you did not set it up, you would only be able to see the situation on the South Star Galaxy. You would not be able to see the situation on the Demon Island. According to some reports on the Demon Island, the abyss is expanding and countless planets are being devoured. Large numbers of abyss species are invading. There are even groups of them coming out of the abyss to hunt humans in space. In a short period of time, the abyss has devoured 1/5 of the Demon Island. The entire Demon Island is in a state of war. According to the news, a Ninth Order Immortal King realm expert from a large sect has fallen, Prime Minister Turtle said solemnly. Wang Xian was shocked as he read the information on the artificial intelligence system. A starry sky the size of a small island in the universe actually encountered such a disaster. Wang Xian was shocked as he read the information on the artificial intelligence system. On the Demon Island, all the forces were fighting and killing the abyss species with all their might. Countless experts had fallen, even a top-notch expert from a large sect had fallen. One could imagine how tragic it was. According to the artificial intelligence system, the forces were preparing to build a large defensive position to prevent the invasion of the abyss species. Prime Minister Turtle, send someone to check it out. Wang Xian hesitated before instructing Prime Minister Turtle. Yes, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle nodded. The expansion and invasion of the abyss did not affect the South Star Galaxy. However, the abyss species were a rare resource for the Dragon Palace. If the Dragon Palace could kill enough abyss species, the strength of the Dragon Palace would be greatly enhanced. Of course, Wang Xian would not take the risk to lead the experts to hunt the abyss species. After all, even a Ninth Order Immortal King realm expert could fall. If they were not careful, they would suffer great losses. Prime Minister Turtle immediately sent the mysterious demon and the rest to check out the situation while Wang Xian took a look at the giant peak. Dragon King, the war machine is ready. 4 days later, a piece of good news came. Is it done? His figure moved, and he immediately flew toward the giant peak. Far away in the void, an incomparably huge mountain stood erect in the universe. At the very top of the giant mountain was a divine dragon that was tens of thousands of meters long. The divine dragon was a noble golden color, vivid and full of majesty. The divine dragon opened its head and let out a dragon roar. It had a kind of imposing manner that looked down on the world. Dragon King, the dragon's head is the command center. You can see everything around you from there. Duan Jinming introduced. Wang Xian nodded his head. He flew to the dragon's head and entered through the dragon's mouth. Located within the mountain peak, it contained a terrifying array formation power. All sorts of array formations crisscrossed and were incomparably powerful. Powerful weapons of war were placed at the entrance of the cave, and the weakest of these weapons could kill a first-order undying god king. There were over 1,000 of these weapons, but their simultaneous attacks consumed a terrifying amount of divine stones. Other than that, there were also 5,000 arrow platforms, each of which could accommodate a member of the Heaven's Eye Arrow unit. This war machine is much more powerful than the battleships of the Heavenly Mountain Sword sect and the Grade 9 Heavenly sect. It's not even on the same level. Wang Xian revealed a smile. Dragon King, this war machine doesn't have a name yet. Dragon King, why don't you give it a name? Tianjin said with a smile. Let's call it Dragon Peak. Roam the starry sky and stand on the 9 peaks. Wang Xian said directly. All right, Dragon Peak it shall be. Tianjin nodded his head. With a wave of his arm, a huge finger appeared outside Dragon Peak and wrote the words Dragon Peak. Every word shone brightly and could be seen from afar. Let the members of the Heaven's Eye Arrow unit and Dragon Palace familiarize themselves with Dragon Peak. It might be used soon. Wang Xian said to them. Yes, Dragon King. Tianjin and the rest nodded their heads. Dragon King, roving demon sent us a message. Prime Minister Turtle came over and reported to Wang Xian. The situation on the Demon Island is extremely tragic. The abyss continent that roving demon and Dragon King went to previously has been engulfed by the abyss. All the forces on the Demon Island are fighting against the abyss species. Roving demon and the rest even heard that more than 10 abyss species are trying to invade the Demon Island to devour humans. Such a powerful abyss species with peak immortal god kings. If it wasn't for the fact that the human experts could return to their god kingdom instantly, The demon island wouldn't be able to hold on any longer. Prime Minister Turtle said to Wang Xian, "So serious?" Wang Xian was shocked. Yes, this is the most serious invasion from the abyss in the past millions of years. However, Dragon King, roving demon suggested that we head to the demon island. Many forces have their own people and need to guard their own planets. We don't need them. When the time comes, we can focus on hunting the abyss species. If we can't defeat them, we can leave immediately. This is an opportunity for the Dragon Palace. Prime Minister Turtle continued. That's true. Wang Xian nodded his head slightly. I'll head over there to take a look. He hesitated for a moment before continuing. Even those major sects had to put up a desperate fight. Even if the Dragon Palace really wanted to head over, they had to be fully prepared and have a clear understanding of the situation. It was still dangerous to head over recklessly. In that case, Dragon King, please be careful, Prime Minister Turtle said. Wang Xian nodded his head. He took out the artificial intelligence system and sent a message to Bei Shuang. Bei Shuang had left 4 days ago. Given her speed, she should have reached Beichuan sect by now. Master's message. At this moment, Bei Shuang was in a planet's main hall on the demon island. She was overjoyed when she saw the message on the artificial intelligence system. Tens of thousands of people gathered around her. Even the weakest among them was a first-order immortal god king. The group of people stood there with solemn expressions. When she saw the content of the message, she was shocked. Master is coming over. She mumbled to herself and immediately sent a location. Ha! Bei Shuang, your master is coming over. A woman standing beside her raised her eyebrows and asked in surprise. Yeah, master said he's coming over. I don't know the details. Bei Shuang shook her head. Bei Shuang's return this time with the strength of a fourth-order immortal god king had shaken the entire Beichuan sect. A year ago, she was still at the pinnacle of the Almighty. Now, she had advanced to the fourth-order immortal god king within a year. What kind of concept was that? Chapter 26:10. The once proud daughter of the heavens had returned. When Bei Shuang came to Beichuan sect, she received a lot of attention. Everyone in Beichuan sect knew that the reason why Bei Shuang couldn't break through was because she didn't have a cultivation method, and she didn't have the law of ice. The proud daughter of the heavens that shocked the entire imperial star domain for more than 30,000 years had fallen so quickly. After her brilliance dimmed, she was no longer valued by the sect. If it wasn't for the fact that Bei Shuang had brought so much glory to Beichuan sect, she might have just been an ordinary disciple. However, her powerful return this time and breakthrough to the fourth-order immortal god king realm in a little more than a year had shaken the sect once again. Although she wasn't as dazzling as before, she still received the attention of the elders. In the past, Bei Shuang was said to be the proud daughter of the heavens that could lead Beichuan sect to become a great sect. Now that she had returned, that possibility still existed. However, the Devil Island was attacked by the abyss, and dozens of planets within Beichuan sect's territory were destroyed. Over 100 immortal god kings of the sect had fallen. Bei Shuang's return didn't make them too excited. Bei Shuang, your luck is really good, to actually meet an expert that knows the law of ice in the South Star system. The lady at the side sighed lightly. After tens of thousands of years, Bei Shuang had experienced a lot of ups and downs. Fortunately, her luck was good this time. Ian, Master has been very good to me. Bei Shuang's face revealed a trace of a smile. Bei Shuang, the entire Devil Island is in danger now that you've returned. The sect can't let you cultivate in peace. These abyss crystals are the sect's compensation to you. You've worked hard for the past 30,000 years. At this time, a few elders walked in from outside the hall and looked at Bei Shuang with a smile. Thank you, sect leader. I'm still a disciple of Beichuan sect, and Beichuan sect has treated me well. Bei Shuang saw the peak experts of the sect walk in and bowed slightly. Haha, good, good. Beichuan sect is also very happy to have a disciple like you. The old man in the lead let out a gratified smile. This time, Bei Shuang didn't have to come at all, but she still disregarded the danger and rushed over. The experts of Beichuan sect were very happy. This kind of disciple was a true disciple of Beichuan sect. All right, Gather all the disciples. Next, it's time to fight against the abyss. I don't know how many disciples will die in this battle, but we have no choice but to fight. We will form an alliance with the ancient god dynasty and the Dragon Python group to guard the northern line of Devil Island. Bei Shuang has just arrived as well, so she's not too sure. Let's go and take a look. In the Dragon Palace, Wang Xian mumbled to himself when he saw the message sent by Bei Shuang. Roving sword, bring someone with you and follow me to the Demon Island. Wang Xian brought along Roving sword and flew towards the direction of the Demon Island. Mao Zedong, lead the members of the Heavenly Eye Arrow unit to the Dragon Peak and practice there. After Wang Xian left, Prime Minister Turtle instructed the members of the Heaven's Eye Arrow unit. Prime Minister Turtle knew that there was a high possibility that the Dragon Palace would step into the Demon Island. With the breakthrough in his strength, Wang Xian's speed had increased tremendously. Now, he could already fly in the Void Crack. The speed in the Void Crack was comparable to teleportation. Most importantly, flying in the Void Crack was not dangerous at all. With Roving Sword and another Dragon Guard, Wang Xian flew in the starry sky. At this moment, at the north of the Demon Island, thousands of stars were lined up in a row. At a glance, it was a spectacular sight. And in front of these thousands of stars was an abyss that was even deeper than the surrounding void. It was completely different from the starry sky on the left and right. There was no light at all, and the occasional roar that came from it was heart-wrenching. Because thousands of stars were lined up in a row, it was also known as the Northern Front. The Northern Front belonged to a prosperous region of the Demon Island. As thousands of habitable planets lined up side by side, the distance between them wasn't too far, and it formed a huge business circle. Half of the planets in the Northern Front were controlled by the major sects of the Moon. Among them, the rest were controlled by Bei Chuan Sect, Ancient God Dynasty, and Dragon Python Corporation. Now that the abyss had devoured 1/5 of the territory of the Demon Island, it had completely entered the depths of the starry sky that was once the Demon Island. Seeing that they had arrived at the Northern Front, all the forces could no longer retreat. They had to stop the expansion of the abyss. And in order to stop it, they had to kill the abyss species at the entrant. The expansion of the abyss was driven by the abyss species. As long as they were killed and destroyed, the abyss would stop expanding. According to our investigation, a few groups of the abyss species in the depths are charging towards us. They want to continue expanding the abyss. Everyone, get ready. When the time comes, we will charge into the abyss species and hunt them down. On a planet in the Northern Front, an elder of the North Chuan sect reminded the surrounding expert. Yes, Elder Gong. The crowd nodded immediately. Where's Bei Shuang? Elder Gong nodded, looked around, and asked doubtfully. Elder Gong, junior sister Bei Shuang is increasing her strength. She said she will advance to 5th Order Immortal God King soon. A lady said with a smile. Oh, really? Elder Gong was slightly shocked. Elder. At this time, Bei Shuang was flying towards them from the back. Elder Gong's eyes lit up. Bei Shuang, you've broken through? Sensing the mystical glow around Bei Shuang, he couldn't help but ask. Yes, Elder Gong, I've broken through. Bei Shuang nodded. It's all thanks to the sect leader and the others for giving me the law crystal. You deserve it. It seems like our North Chuan sect's proud daughter is back. Elder Gong said happily. Master said that I have a strong foundation, and it's easy for me to advance to 5th Order Immortal God King. However, it will take some time for me to advance further, Bei Shuang said with a joyful expression. Yes, your foundation is too strong. However, I'm afraid your progress will be very fast. Your master has really picked up a treasure this time, Elder Gong said softly. In his opinion, the Dragon King who had accepted Bei Shuang as his disciple was really lucky. He had a set of Bei Shuang's cultivation technique, and now that he had met Bei Shuang, his future was limitless. As her master, he would naturally benefit greatly. Master, Elder, the abyss species have entered our range. Bei Shuang wanted to say something, but a middle-aged expert flew over and reported. Are they here? All disciples of the North Chuan sect, move out. Elder Gong narrowed his eyes and shouted immediately. Move out, kill. The million experts and disciples around him did not hesitate and charged into the abyss. Bei Shuang moved her palm slightly, and an ice claw appeared in her hand. White frost covered her body, making her look like a white-haired witch as she charged into the abyss. Chapter 26:11. Kill, kill, kill. At the front of the northern line, millions of experts charged out from the planets, heading into the abyss. Thousands of planets that stretched as far as the eye could see, and billions of experts pounced towards the abyss. Bei Chuan's sect was very strong, with tens of thousands of undying god kings. The ancient god dynasty's dragon python group was no weaker than them. As for the moon sect, their strength was even more terrifying and unfathomable. Among them, there were tens of smaller factions that occupied some planets in the northern line. All of them were participating in this war. Bei Shuang, watch out. As they charged into the abyss, Elder Gong warned Bei Shuang, the daughter of the heavens had returned, she would definitely receive some special treatment. Don't worry, Elder Gong. Bei Shuang smiled, her snow-white claws were covered in frost, her nails looked half a meter long. Bei Shuang, aren't you good with swords? A lady beside her looked at her and asked. I'm better at using claws now. Bei Shuang stared ahead, not blinking as she replied. In front of them, countless abyssal species were flying toward them. At a glance, they could not see the end of it. They also lined up in a row. At the front, the powerful abyss species roared, their terrifying aura surging towards them. Boom, boom, boom. Peng, peng, peng. At this time, sounds of explosions could be heard from all around. One could see a series of terrifying technological cannons bombarding forward. The missiles traversed billions of kilometers in an instant, landing in front of the abyss species. All sorts of technological weapons fired the first round of attacks. Roar, roar, roar. Ahead, countless abyss species roared, their voices shaking the sky. Those experts below the God King level gritted their teeth, their faces contorted. There was no chance of escape here, one misstep and they would die. Lock onto the undying God King abyss species. Kill, Bei Shuang. Attack the undying God King abyss species. Elder Gong ordered, taking care of Bei Shuang. Don't worry, Elder, I will be fine. Bei Shuang's eyes were cold, her body was covered in frost, and a pair of ice wings appeared on her back. Kill. When they reached the attack range, all the undying god kings roared and charged. Roar, roar. Bei Shuang flew over, her eyes fixed on a rank 5 undying god king abyss species, her short hair fluttering. Bei Shuang, leave this to me. A woman spoke to Bei Shuang. The elders of the sect instructed that Bei Shuang had a bright future ahead of her and that she should be the first to leave if there was any danger. Now that it was facing an undying god king realm abyss species, the lady frowned and said, Senior sister, there's no need. I'll handle it. A cold look flashed across Bei Shuang's eyes. Frost claw, dragon rend. Instead of slowing down, she increased her speed and rushed over. Her claws instantly became 10,000 times bigger, just like a dragon's claws. Pu. The frost claw landed on the undying god king's type 5 abyss race body, instantly enveloping it. Roar. The abyssal species revealed a fierce look as it spat out a cloud of black mist from its mouth, covering the frost claws. Bam bam. The next moment, however, the frost claw pierced through the black mist and landed directly on the abyss species. Ayo ayo. The abyssal species showed a trace of fear. If human experts chose abyssal species experts, abyssal species would naturally choose humans. In the eyes of this undying god king rank 5 abyss race, the human in front of it could be dealt with by itself. However, what it did not expect was that the frost claw instantly landed on its body. Ka, ka, ka. Its body began to split apart. The undying god king rank 5 abyss race was instantly killed. What? Bei Shuang seems to be able to instantly kill an undying god king rank 5 abyss race the moment she broke through to the 5th order god king rank. Around them, some of the experts from the various sects who were paying attention to the frost saw this scene and were slightly shocked. Roar, roar. At this time, one of the undying god king rank 6 abyss race let out a furious roar as it saw its own kind being killed. Bei Shuang, watch out. The lady beside her quickly warned. Frost dragon's lament, frost explosion. Bei Shuang saw the incoming Undying God King rank 6 Abyss race, but there was no fear in her eyes. Her frost claw reached out and exploded right in front of the Undying God King rank 6 Abyss race. Countless ice crystals shot out like ice dragons, landing on the body of the Undying God King Type 6 Abyss species. Bang, bang, bang. The sound of an explosion rang out. Ao, ao. In the next instant, a wail of agony could be heard. The Undying God King rank 6 Abyss race was instantly killed. What? How is this possible? Bei Shuang is so strong. The Undying God King rank 6 Abyss race was killed in an instant. Everyone's face was filled with disbelief. She had just reached the 5th order Undying God King rank and killed a rank 6 Abyss race in an instant. What kind of strength was this? Is this the Frost God Dragon battle technique that Master taught me? So strong. At this moment, Bei Shuang was also shocked. After Bei Shuang became Wang Xian's disciple, she had taught him the cultivation technique of the Frost God Dragon. Although she did not have the body of a divine dragon, she had the Ice Origin body. With the Ice Origin body and the Frost God Dragon battle technique, Bei Shuang could fight 2 ranks higher than her. One had to know that the Frost God Dragon was an existence that could fight 4 ranks higher than her. It was no surprise that she could kill a rank 6 Immortal King rank 6 Abyss race in an instant. Is this my current strength? She murmured as the frost wings behind her flapped. Hua, 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 hua. In an instant, countless ice arrows covered the area in front of her. Frost Dragon Brilliance. She shouted as each ice arrow was like a miniature Frost God Dragon, piercing through the Undying God King rank 6 Abyss race. Ah, ah, ah. Pu, pu, pu. In an instant, at least 100 Undying God King rank 6 Abyss race were killed. Sigh, so strong. At this time, Elder Gong, who was fighting a rank 7 Immortal King rank 6 Abyss race, looked over with shock. This terrifying attack was no weaker than his. He was an elder of the Bei Chuan sect, one of the 30 strongest under the sect's old ancestor. Yet, Bei Shuang's combat strength was no weaker than his. What did this mean? Bei Shuang, who was not even 40,000 years old, had the strength of a 7th order Immortal King, and the potential of a great emperor. In the future, she could lead the Bei Chuan sect to become a major sect. Elder Gong, let's work together to kill it. There was only one rank 7 Immortal King rank 6 Abyss race at their position. Bei Shuang's gaze swept across and charged over. Alright, Xiao Shuang, let's kill it. Elder Gong's face was flushed with excitement as he roared. That's Bei Shuang, her strength, sigh, that's senior sister Bei Shuang. The senior sister Bei Shuang who once suppressed the major sects and even the imperial court? She's back. One move to kill 100 Undying God King rank 6 Abyss race, that's the Frost Goddess. Chapter 26:12. Kill kill kill. In the vast abyss, countless people were slaughtering each other. One could not see the end of the abyss. Thousands of planets in the north, billions of cultivators were guarding the entrance of the abyss, preventing it from expanding. In front of a planet belonging to Bei Chuan sect, Bei Shuang and Elder Gong were suppressing a rank 7 Undying God King Abyss species. Compared to other places, the pressure here was much lesser. Bei Shuang had killed over 100 Undying God King Abyss species at the start, greatly reducing the pressure on their side. Elder Gong, I'll freeze it, you kill it. 5 minutes later, Bei Shuang swept a cold gaze across the ice she had laid in the air and said to Elder Gong, all right. Elder Gong's eyes flashed and he immediately shouted, ice crystals, condense. Bei Shuang waved her claw, and the ice crystals around her immediately condense. Ka. In the next instant, countless ice crystals condensed together, and the rank 7 Undying God King Abyss species in the middle panicked as it clawed at the ice crystal. However, the ice crystals scattered in the void were obviously set up by Bei Shuang in advance. As the ice crystals condensed together, the Abyss species was instantly frozen. Attack! She immediately shouted to Elder Gong. Elder Gong understood his intentions and stabbed forward with the sword in his hand. Voila! Wherever the long sword passed, the ice crystals of the Abyss species automatically disperse. The abyssal species within the ice widened its eyes, which were filled with horror. Pu. Ha 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 ha, good, good. Elder Gong's long sword pierced into the abyss species, causing the energy within the sword to churn, causing the life force of the abyss species to dissipate. He could not help but laugh out loud. Xiao Shuang, let's go, we will reinforce the other places. Elder Gong's eyes lit up with excitement after dealing with a rank 7 undying God King Abyss. He scanned the surroundings, seeing that there was no problem here, he immediately flew to the side. Beichuan sect had occupied close to 80 planets in the north, and all the experts and disciples of the sect were stationed at these 80 planets. The abyss species here were no longer a threat, but there were still battles going on at other places. All right. Beichuan nodded. Then, his figure flashed, and he quickly followed behind Beichuan. Elder Gong. Did you guys settle it so quickly? Ha ha ha, let me show you Xiao Shuang's strength. Let's attack. Elder Gong and Beichuan flew over, and the elder sitting there looked over and said happily. Without any hesitation, Elder Gong and Beichuan charged forward. Hiss. Beichuan's strength. How? How could she be so strong? Is that senior sister Beichuan? How could she be so strong? She's actually around the same level as an elder. This is the strength of our senior sister Beichuan. Soon, when Beichuan made his move, everyone's faces were filled with shock. Beichuan's current age wasn't even 40,000 years old. This age, among undying god kings, was equivalent to a 100-year-old person living for 2 to 3 years. To have the battle prowess of a 7th-order immortal god king at such a young age, even in the entire Great Thousand World, he was an unbelievable existence. The battle continued, and Beichuan's strength shook the entire Beichuan sect. She was a little too strong, especially those ice claws, powerful and imposing, filled with terrifying destructive power. The higher-ups were shaken, and the disciples were shocked. And the goddess of Frost's name also landed on Beichuan. Her already exquisite face, valiant short hair, a good figure, coupled with the frost that covered her clothes, she really looked like a goddess. This time, the battle lasted for a full 3 hours. 3 hours later, an order came from the center of the northern front, for everyone to retreat immediately. There were many abyss species, and they were much stronger than Beichuan sect and the other 3 factions. However, they didn't need to kill all the abyss species, they just needed to stop them from expanding. 3 hours of battle, there were countless deaths and injuries. Just Beichuan sect alone had lost more than 20 undying god king expert. However, as people fell, there were also experts and disciples that rose up. Among them, the most dazzling one was Beichuan. The girl that once suppressed the imperial court in the same era as her had returned. Killing over 100 undying god king abyss species, killing a 5th order and 6th order undying god king abyss species in 2 moves, and cooperating with a group of elders to kill 5 7th order undying god king abyss species, shocking everyone. A 7th order undying god king expert that was not even 40,000 years old, the girl that had returned. After this battle, Beichuan's name instantly spread throughout the northern front, and on the smart computer, the news of the girl's return caused countless people to boil. After all, Beichuan was like a shooting star that dazzled the entire imperial star domain. Everyone in that era knew of her existence. Now, she had once again appeared out of nowhere, shocking everyone with her 7th order undying god king strength. Shuang take these abyss species crystals to cultivate, don't be afraid of wasting them. On the planet that Elder Beichuan was guarding, Beichuan sect's sect leader smiled as he passed 10 7th order undying god king abyss species crystals to her, his eyes filled with excitement. Thank you, sect leader. I will try my best to reach the 6th order undying god king realm. Beichuan did not reject, receiving them with a smile. With the abyss species crystals, her cultivation speed would be much faster. Haha, good, good. Beichuan sect's sect leader nodded happily. The few ancestors beside him also had smiles on their faces. As long as Beichuan had the battle power of a 9th order undying god king, their Beichuan sect would become a major faction in the north. In the next 2 days, another battle broke out. Beichuan's formidable strength made her even more famous. And on the Devil Islands AI, the evaluation of the Goddess of Frost was getting higher and higher. It's just up ahead. At this moment, Wang Xian, who was in front of a group of planets on the northern front, looked ahead, his eyes shining brightly. The abyss here is really terrifying. Looking to the right of the group of planets, Wang Xian's eyes revealed a trace of shock. The entrance to the abyss here could no longer be called an entrance, it was too big. If this abyss were to expand again, it would be able to swallow a few thousand planets with life. One could not see the end of it. Within the abyss, one could see many abyss species flying around, staring greedily at their side of the world. Master is here. At this time, in a palace on a planet, Bei Shuang, who was absorbing the abyss species crystals on her arm, trembled. Looking at the message from her master, she smiled and immediately walked out. Master. She flew out of the northern front, and soon, she saw a familiar figure. Her face lit up with joy, and she immediately flew over and shouted, "En." Seeing Bei Shuang, Wang Xian smiled, "Not bad, your strength has increased by another level." Chapter 26:13, 1 second to remember. Wonderful pop-up window free reading. It's all because of your cultivation technique, Master. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to break through so quickly. Bei Shuang came to Wang Xian respectfully and said, "It's because your innate talent is not bad." Wang Xian shook his head plainly and looked at the abyss on the right. "What's the situation in the abyss over here?" "Master, a large number of abyssal species in the abyss want to expand the abyss and devour the time on our side. Our forces are resisting. There have been 3 battles in the past few days. Fortunately, no abyssal species that are too strong have appeared yet." Bei Shuang replied immediately, "How many forces are guarding this place?" Wang Xian continued to ask as he swept his gaze across the stars. "There are many powers. There are 4 relatively strong ones, and one of them is at the level of a great sect. Master, please follow me. I'll take you to the star I'm guarding," Bei Shuang said with a smile as she led Wang Xian forward. "Elder Shuang. Elder Bei Shuang." When Bei Shuang brought Wang Xian and the rest to the planet, some people noticed them and greeted Bei Shuang respectfully. At the same time, they looked at Wang Xian and the rest curiously. En. Bei Shuang nodded indifferently at the group of disciples. Ever since she displayed the battle prowess of a 7th-order immortal god king, she had become an elder of the North Creek sect. The youngest elder. Who's that young man beside Bei Shuang? Could he be Elder Bei Shuang's boyfriend? That's possible. After all, Elder Bei Shuang isn't young anymore. However, that doesn't make sense. I've never heard of Elder Bei Shuang having a boyfriend. I don't want our frost goddess to have a boyfriend. As they watched Bei Shuang and the others leave, some disciples discussed in low voices, "Master, please sit." Bei Shuang brought Wang Xian to a study, poured him a cup of tea and spoke respectfully. En. Wang Xian nodded. "Bei Shuang, do you have any information about the abyss on the Devil Island?" "Let me see. Master, I'll send someone to search and send it over to you later," Bei Shuang said immediately. "All right." Wang Xian nodded. After which, he turned on the artificial intelligence system to check on the situation of the Devil's Island. Bei Shuang immediately went out and ordered the disciples to investigate the situation of the Demon Island abyss. Elder Bei Shuang, how many people are you welcoming?" Not too far away from the palace, Elder Gong listened to his disciples' report with a curious look on his face. Elder Bei Shuang doesn't seem to know many people. Let's go and take a look. Elder Gong hesitated for a moment before walking toward Bei Shuang's palace. "Elder Bei Shuang, I heard that you have a friend here." When he arrived at Bei Shuang's residence, a disciple reported to him. Elder Gong asked with a smile when he saw Bei Shuang walking out. "My master is here," Bei Shuang said with a smile when she saw Elder Gong. "Your master? The Dragon King?" Elder Gong was taken aback and asked in astonishment. As for Bei Shuang's master, Bei Chuanzong naturally knew him very well. He was the leader of a small galaxy force called Dragon Palace. According to the news they received, the Dragon Palace was not weak, but not strong either. Their strongest expert was a 7th-order undying god king. In his opinion, someone with such strength was not worthy of being Bei Shuang's master. However, the other party had provided Bei Shuang with the cultivation method, even if the other party's strength was the same as Bei Shuang's. "Yes, what's the matter, Elder Gong?" Bei Shuang looked at him in confusion. "Nothing much. I'm just a little curious and wanted to come over to get to know you, Elder Gong said with a smile. This. I'll ask my master. Bei Shuang hesitated for a moment before replying to Elder Gong. All right. Elder Gong nodded. However, Bei Shuang soon walked out and shook her head at him apologetically. My master has some matters to attend to and might not be available now. I'm sorry, Elder Gong, Bei Shuang said to him. Elder Gong was taken aback for a moment before he smiled sheepishly. Since he's not available, forget it. I'll make a move first. As he spoke, he nodded at Bei Shuang and left. If it wasn't for Bei Shuang, would the leader of a small galaxy force dare to reject me? Elder Gong muttered to himself as he left. He was a little dissatisfied. However, even if he was dissatisfied, he couldn't show it. He still had to give face to Bei Shuang. At this moment, Wang Xian really didn't have the time. He was pondering over the various news about the Abyss. Now that the Abyss had devoured the Demon Island, this was only one of the battlefields. There were several other battlefields. However, the other battlefields were further away. Dragon King, we can join forces with the other forces to fight against the Abyss species. In this way, the risk isn't high. Moreover, we can obtain quite a number of Abyss species crystals. In the room, Roving Sword looked through the documents and said to Wang Xian. That's true. When the war breaks out, we can kill the Abyss species by the side. I believe the other forces will be more than happy to do so. Wang Xian nodded slightly as he looked at the documents in his hands. This was the list of the fallen Bei Chuan sect members from the first and second battles against the Abyss species. In the first two battles, over 70 immortal kings had fallen. This wasn't a small number, however, compared to the Abyss species crystals that they obtained, it was totally acceptable. If the Dragon Palace could still reap such a harvest after losing over 70 immortal kings, it would be a huge profit for the Dragon Palace. All disciples of Bei Chuan sect, prepare for battle immediately. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded. Bei Shuang, who was at the side, frowned slightly. Master, she shouted at Wang Xian. Let's go and take a look. Wang Xian nodded his head and flew out. When they arrived at the entrance of the Abyss, Bei Shuang said to Wang Xian before flying in. Some people looked curiously at Wang Xian and the rest beside Bei Shuang. However, they didn't pay too much attention to the Abyss species gathering again. One by one, the disciples of Bei Chuan sect rushed into the Abyss. They immediately got into formation and prepared for battle. Soon, the battle broke out. One by one, the immortal kings and eternal god lord Abyss species rushed over. Wang Xian didn't enter the battlefield. Instead, he watched from the back. In front of them, millions of abyssal demons were attacking. Slaughter, an extremely brutal battle. Be it the Abyss species or humans, they would die if they weren't careful. When humans were killed, they would be devoured by the Abyss species. Some of the Abyss species would even devour the corpses of the Abyss species that were killed. The entire battle lasted for 3 hours. According to Wang Xian's observation, there were 40 to 50,000 humans that died, and the Abyss species that died numbered 40 to 50,000. After killing 40 to 50,000 Abyss species, the humans retreated. More than half of the corpses were not brought back as they were devoured by other Abyss species. After devouring, the Abyss species had an obvious improvement. These Abyss species seemed to be nourishing themselves through battle. Chapter 26:14. Countless abyssal species were gathered in front, and many of them were rushing over. Some of the slain abyssal demons were taken away by humans, and some were devoured by the abyssal demons. After devouring the abyssal species, their strength would increase tremendously. Devouring humans also gave them an obvious upgrade. This method seemed to be nurturing GU. The weak were eliminated, and the strong were getting stronger and stronger. Master, the crisis has finally been resolved. The strength of the Abyss species is getting harder and harder. Bei Shuang flew over and spoke to Wang Xian with a smile. On the battlefield, I can also quickly hone my strength and improve much faster, said Wang Xian with a smile. With enough resources, the more human experts fought, the easier it was for them to break through. The abyssal demons could nurture themselves through battle, and so could the humans. However, In terms of efficiency, the humans were much, much worse than the abyss species. This was the innate talent of a race. Our elder Bei Shuang seems to be very respectful toward that young man. Who is that young man? I don't know. He's not an expert from our Bei Chuan sect. Elder Bei Shuang even lowered his head slightly in front of that young man. Who is that young man? All the disciples of Bei Chuan sect who were flying towards the planet were shocked to see Bei Shuang standing respectfully before Wang Xian. Elder Gong, who is that young man? Elder Bei Shuang is so respectful. Even the Undying God King experts from Bei Chuan sect were looking at Wang Xian in shock. They could not help but ask Elder Gong. It's Bei Shuang's teacher. Elder Gong's gaze landed on the young man whose appearance was incomparably young. In fact, he could even sense the aura of the young man. His eyes shone brightly. North Frost's master? Is he Bei Shuang's master? Dragon King of Dragon Palace? Seventh Order Immortal God King Realm Expert. I didn't expect Bei Shuang to be so respectful in front of her master. Elder Bei Shuang's current strength is no weaker than her master. Elder Bei Shuang is a person who values friendship. The group of Undying God Kings were discussing. Let's go and get to know each other. After Elder Gong said that, he immediately flew towards where Wang Xian and the rest were. Elder Bei Shuang, this must be your master, the Dragon King. Elder Gong flew to the front and asked with a smile. Yes, Elder Gong, this is my master. Bei Shuang nodded. Hello, Elder Gong. Wang Xian nodded his head lightly at him. Haha, thank you, Dragon King, for teaching me the cultivation method and allowing me to shine again, Elder Gong said as he sized Wang Xian up. It's because she's more talented. Wang Xian nodded his head politely. Elder, sect leader and the others are here. At this moment, an Undying God King spoke. Master, Patriarch. When they turned around, a dozen figures had already flown over. Seeing the sect leader and the others, the crowd immediately shouted. Who are they? Sect leader Kitagawa looked at Wang Xian and asked curiously. Sect leader, this is my master. Bei Shuang immediately introduced. Oh, this is the Dragon King. Haha, nice to meet you. It's Shuang'er's luck to meet you, Dragon King. A look of surprise flashed across Sect Master Kitagawa's eyes as he cupped his hands and said with a smile. You're too polite, Sect leader Kitagawa. Wang Xian cupped his fist and replied. During the war, there are many things to attend to. I'm sorry that I can't entertain the Dragon King. If the crisis on the Demon Island can be resolved, I'll definitely entertain the Dragon King well. Sect leader Kitagawa said with a smile. Wang Xian shook his head and exchanged some pleasantries with him. Elder Gong, Shuang-er, after the war, take out all the abyss crystals and distribute them to the disciples. After exchanging some pleasantries, sect leader Kitagawa got down to business as he looked at Elder Gong and the rest. Sect leader, are we taking them all out? Elder Gong was slightly shocked as he asked immediately. Take them all out. For the fallen disciples, our sect will provide subsidies from other places. All the abyss crystals will be given to the disciples for their cultivation. Sect leader Kitagawa nodded his head heavily and said. Now, the other forces have also implemented the same thing. Based on the past few battles, we can already see that the abyss crystals are nourishing themselves through war. The weaker ones will be devoured after they die while the stronger ones get stronger. We will also take out all the abyss crystals for all the disciples to improve, said a patriarch of Bei Chuan sect. Yes. Elder Gong and the rest nodded their heads. Sect leader Kitagawa, our Dragon Palace would like to send some experts over to hunt for some abyss crystals. Would that be a problem? Wang Xian looked at sect leader Kitagawa and asked. Oh, experts from Dragon Palace are coming over? Of course, we welcome them. We can kill more abyss creatures in the abyss. We welcome anyone to come over. This will reduce our burden, sect leader Kitagawa said with a smile. All right, I'll send the disciples over in a few days. At that time, our Dragon Palace will be free to act. Wang Xian nodded his head. You're most welcome, Dragon King. I have to inform other places and won't be able to keep you company. Sorry. Sect leader Kitagawa said as he led the group away. According to the information, the Dragon Palace has quite a number of 7th-level Immortal King Realm experts. I wonder how many experts they will send over. Sect leader Kitagawa and the group flew forward as an elder by the side commented. I don't think they will send too many people. They just want to take the opportunity to get some abyss crystals. However, it won't affect us much. An old man by the side said. Xiao Shuang is a little too respectful to the Dragon King, Lao Zhu of Beichuan sect suddenly said. We can't do anything about it. However, we have to think of a way to keep Bei Shuang in our Beichuan sect. Grandpa, why don't we open up the secret land and let Shuang enter? Sect leader Kitagawa pondered for a moment before suggesting, open up the secret land? All right. Although it will cost a lot, we have to let Shuang know that our Beichuan sect has sacrificed a lot for her. The Lao Zhu beside him nodded his head slowly. Roving sword, inform Prime Minister Turtle to send someone over. In the palace where Bei Shuang was, Wang Xian instructed Roving Sword. Yes, Dragon King. Roving Demon contacted me just now. He got his hands on a life planet. The people on it have escaped. It's not far from here. We should be able to fly there in 3 to 4 hours. Roving Sword nodded his head and said, Is that so? Let's go. Wang Xian was delighted and stood up immediately. With a life planet, he could build a dragon palace there. Once it was built, he could teleport over immediately through the teleportation array. In this case, it would be much more convenient for the dragon palace. Moreover, after obtaining the abyss crystal, he could teleport directly to the main dragon palace through the dragon palace. He could increase the strength of the members of the dragon palace rapidly without having to fly back and forth. Chapter 26:15. Great, you guys have found a habitable planet. 3 hours later, on a planet not far from the northern front, Wang Xian smiled as he looked at the ocean. Building a dragon palace here would allow him to travel to the South Star Galaxy quickly. He wouldn't need to fly for days. Soon, a dragon palace was built with the help of the system. In the next moment, Wang Xian returned to the main dragon palace through the teleportation array. Prime Minister Turtle, how's the preparation? Wang Xian asked Prime Minister Turtle as soon as he returned to the Dragon Palace. Dragon King, you're back so soon? Everyone is ready. This time, we will send out the Dragon Palace members led by Mao Zedong and the rest to drive Dragon Peak to the Demon Island. Prime Minister Turtle answered immediately when he saw Wang Xian. All right, send more experts. The battle on the Demon Island won't end anytime soon. This is a great opportunity for us. Wang Xian nodded. We can send some over first. Roving Demon and the rest have found a habitable planet on the Demon Island. They can go there directly through the teleportation array. All right, Dragon King. I'll follow you there later to check out the situation before making arrangement. Prime Minister Turtle said. Wang Xian nodded and came to the sky above the Dragon Palace. Soon, the towering Dragon Peak in the void began to move, and it sped towards the Demon Island at a terrifying speed. Dragon Peak was huge and fast. At full speed, it wasn't any slower than the flying speed of an 8th-order Immortal King expert. At this speed, they could reach the northern front of the Demon Island in 3 days. Wang Xian smiled when he saw Dragon Peak setting off. Given the strength of Dragon Peak, other than the Crescent Sect, Beichuan Sect and the rest can't break through the defense of Dragon Peak. They can even destroy Beichuan Sect and the rest with Dragon Peak. Wang Xian murmured as he teleported to the Demon Island. Wang Xian moved the planet to the side of the northern front, which was in front of the abyss. The experts on Beichuan Sect's planet were shocked when they saw someone moving the planet over. At this time, many forces were moving planets further away. Now that they were here, this, Master, Sect Chief and the others want me to enter the North Stream Sect's secret domain to raise my strength. They said that once I enter the secret domain, I will be able to break through to the 6th Order Immortal God King realm very quickly. On the second day, Bei Shuang looked for Wang Xian and spoke to him. Oh, your sect allowed you to enter the secret manual? That's a good thing. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows and said with a smile, yes. Master might not be able to contact me for the next 1 or 2 days. I'll look for you after I break through. Bei Shuang replied with a smile. Okay, I'm on this planet. Wang Xian nodded his head. After saying that, Bei Shuang left immediately. It only took 1 or 2 days for Bei Shuang to advance a level. Is this the power of a powerful sect? Wang Xian mumbled to himself as he watched Bei Shuang leave. Bei Shuang had just broken through to the 5th Order Immortal God King realm. According to Bei Shuang's estimation, even with sufficient resources, it would take him a few years to break through. However, to be able to break through in 1 or 2 days, this Bei Chuan sect's mystic realm must be very powerful. Shuang come out immediately after you break through in the mystic realm. This mystic realm consumes too much energy. It has been tens of millions of years since this mystic realm was activated. In front of a cave on the planet where Bei Chuan sect was located, the sect leader of Bei Chuan sect instructed Bei Shuang solemnly. Yes, sect leader. Bei Shuang nodded her head. For the sect leader to say that it consumed too much energy, the consumption must be terrifying. Moreover, even she did not know about this mystic realm. There were probably not many people in the sect who knew about this mystic realm. After Shuang enters, she will be able to reach the 6th Order Immortal God King realm. At that time, her combat strength will not be any weaker than mine. Ha. Bei Chuan sect leader said excitedly. An 8th Order Immortal God King realm expert who was not even 40,000 years old was unprecedented. The future of Bei Chuan sect depended on her. Rumble. However, just 1 day later, Bei Shuang walked out of the mystic realm. Her body was covered in frost, and on her head, there was an ice crown with an ice dragon coiled around it. She walked out of the mystic realm with a powerful aura. Ha. Good. In just one day, Shuang broke through and came out. The heavens have blessed my Bei Chuan sect. Ha. At the entrance, Bei Chuan sect leader looked at Bei Shuang with astonishment. Then, his face lit up with excitement. Advancing a realm in just 1 day after entering the mystic realm, this talent was too terrifying. Many thanks to sect leader for nurturing me. Bei Shuang clasped her hands and thanked Bei Chuan sect leader. Ha. Shuang Bei Chuan sect has nurtured you. In the future, Bei Chuan sect will rely on you to lead us. Come, let's go to the northern front and announce this matter. Ha. Bei Chuan sect leader was extremely excited as he continued. Shuang how's your combat strength now? How long will it take for you to break through again? I can totally fight against an 8th Order Immortal God King realm expert now. If I want to break through again, I'll need a few years. Bei Shuang said with a face full of joy. When she smiled, it was as if the ice had melted, and it was like a spring breeze. A few years. Bei Chuan sect leader's breathing quickened as he looked at Bei Shuang with a fiery gaze. Let's go. His face was full of smiles as he flew towards the teleportation array. Another battle has broken out. Sect leader, let's go. When Bei Shuang and the rest arrived at the northern front, they immediately saw the abyss demons fighting. Bei Shuang clenched her fists and smiled at Bei Chuan sect leader. Alright, let this sect leader see Shuang strength. Also let Bei Chuan sect and the rest of the Devil Islands see Shuang strength. Bei Chuan sect leader's eyes shone brightly as he said. Alright. Bei Shuang's figure flashed, and a pair of ice wings appeared on her back as she flew towards the abyss. On this side of the battlefield, there were more abyss demons closer to the center, and they were also stronger. Bei Shuang entered the abyss with an ice crown on her head. She looked like a fairy from the 9 heavens. Even the daughters of the great sects could not compare to such an elegant demeanor. Yin, Ice Dragon Claw. Bei Shuang charged into the battlefield and locked onto a few 7th Order Immortal God King realm abyss demons. Her dragon claw struck towards them. Roar. The 3 7th Order Immortal God King realm abyss demons felt Bei Shuang's aura and let out a roar of rage. Roar. Behind her, one of the 8th Order Immortal God King realm abyss demons looked at her with bloodthirsty eyes and charged forward. Shuang let's kill him. When Bei Chuan sect leader saw the 8th Order Immortal God King realm abyss demons, he immediately moved and roared. Chapter 26:16. Kill. kill, ha ha ha. Shuang-Er has the battle prowess of an 8th Order immortal king. She will be the deputy sect leader of Bei Chuan sect in the future. All disciples of Bei Chuan sect, kill. A frenzied roar resounded within the abyss. Bei Shuang was facing a rank 8 Undying God King Abyss species and 3 rank 7 Undying God King Abyss species by himself. Behind him, Bei Chuan sect's leader charged over, his face filled with excitement. He rushed to Bei Shuang's side and fought alongside her. What? Bei Shuang broke through again. She has the battle prowess of an 8th Order immortal king. Sigh, Bei Shuang has become our deputy sect leader. This 8th Order immortal king realm battle prowess. Bei Shuang is not even 40,000 years old. Great Emperor's talent, ha ha ha. Long live deputy sect leader Bei Shuang, ha ha ha. Kill, kill, kill. The surrounding Bei Chuan sect's disciples erupted with fighting spirit as they roared with excitement. Bei Chuan sect only had 4 8th Order immortal king realm experts. Adding one more was a huge boost to their strength. Most importantly, Bei Shuang was too young, too heaven-defying. Consecutive breakthroughs, reaching the 8th Order immortal god realm battle prowess before 40,000 years old, such strength was terrifying. This made the disciples of Bei Chuan sect extremely excited. The stronger Bei Chuan sect was, the prouder and more confident they were. Did Bei Shuang break through again? At this time, not far from them, beside Bei Chuan sect, was the Moon sect's headquarters. Some of the Moon sect's experts heard the commotion, and their expressions changed. At the front, a few experts exchanged glances, their eyes filled with shock. It seems that the talented girl has really returned. An elder said slowly. An 8th Order immortal king realm battle prowess, she has already matured, and is even more terrifying than that genius girl. Her future is limitless. After this battle, let's pay her a visit. Report to the leader, this girl's future is limitless. A few experts said as they faced the abyss seed in front of them seriously. Leave it here. Haha, alright, Shuang-Er. Trap it, I'll deal with it. At Bei Chuan sect's position, Bei Shuang's entire body was covered in frost. Every single attack contained a terrifying power of frost. Ice seal, ice freeze, ice spike. In terms of restraining, trapping, and attacking, the power of frost was practically all round. An Undying God King Realm 8th Order Abyss Seed was greatly restricted in front of Bei Shuang. Bei Chuan sect patriarch was also a famous existence. As a sect leader, he was a top-notch existence among those of the same level. Die. Ha ha ha. An hour later, after a carefree battle, Bei Chuan clan leader teamed up with Bei Shuang to kill an Undying God King level 8 Abyss Seed. This was the first Undying God King Abyss species killed in the past few days. After the Undying God King was killed, the surrounding abyssal species revealed looks of fear. They roared and flew towards the back of the abyss. Haha. They actually retreated to the rear, haha. Sect leader is mighty. Vice sect leader Bei Shuang is too powerful. Yeah, that frost greatly restricted that Undying God King Abyss species. This is the first abyss species we killed. The surrounding Bei Chuan sect experts and disciples were discussing excitedly. They looked at Bei Shuang with awe in their eyes. All disciples, retreat. These beasts won't dare to attack us for now. Bei Chuan sect leader roared happily. The group of disciples retreated back to the planet happily. At the same time, the experts from the Crescent Moon sect saw the situation, and their faces were filled with shock. Bei Shuang and Bei Chuan sect had teamed up to kill an Undying God King level 8 abyss species. Such strength was terrifying. Today's battle was even more shocking than the battle a few days ago. Frost Goddess Bei Shuang teamed up with Bei Chuan sect leader to kill an Undying God King level 8 abyss species. The moment the news spread, it caused a huge uproar on the island. Not long ago, she was still able to fight against a 7th Order immortal God King. Now, she could fight against an 8th Order immortal God King. This speed was too fast. An 8th Order immortal God King would be considered an elder in a large sect. The name of the Frost Goddess once again shone like a resplendent star, illuminating the entire demon island. Her rise is really fast. Bei Chuan sect's vice sect leader. Wang Xian had some understanding of Bei Shuang's situation from the AI. He smiled when he saw the evaluation of Bei Shuang. With Bei Shuang's position in Beichuan sect, things will be easy, he murmured, and a smile appeared on his face. Dragon Peak, almost there. Dragon King, Dragon Peak has arrived. An hour later, just as Wang Xian had expected, Dragon Peak arrived. Leave Dragon Peak here, I'll make a trip to Beichuan sect. Wang Xian informed Roving Sword, and immediately flew towards Beishuang's planet. Dragon Palace had to inform Beichuan sect before entering the abyss to fight against the abyss species with the other forces. With Beishuang's current position in Beichuan sect, this was a small matter. This disciple will be of great use. Wang Xian smiled. Accepting Bei Shuang as a disciple, he only imparted her the cultivation method, and did not give her much resources. Moreover, Beichuan sect would provide Bei Shuang's cultivation resources in the future, and Wang Xian did not have to worry too much. This was something he was more than happy to see. Swish swish. Soon, Wang Xian arrived at Bei Shuang's planet, and he sent a message in advance. Bei Shuang was now in the middle of the planets on the northern front of Beichuan sect. In a large hall on the planet, a group of over 100 experts were sitting inside. Beichuan sect was not the only expert here. The sect leaders, Laozu, and elders of the Moon sect, Ancient God Dynasty, and Dragon Python Corporation were all here. And the main character in the Grand Hall was a girl, the Frost Goddess, Bei Shuang. Bei Shuang's strong rise had shocked all the forces, and the experts from the three forces guarding the northern front immediately came to make friend. The crowd chatted with Bei Shuang, and they were not stingy with their praises. This gave Bei Shuang the feeling of being the center of attention, which she had not felt for a long time. This also made her feel a little uncomfortable. At this time, when she saw the message sent by Wang Xian, she immediately stood up. I'm sorry, everyone. My master is here, and I'll go and welcome him. Bei Shuang said to the crowd apologetically. Oh, it's my duty, my duty. Haha, then we shall not disturb you any further. That person is really lucky to have such a good disciple like Bei Shuang. That's right, that's right. In the Grand Hall, the experts from the various forces stood up and laughed as they spoke. Bei Shuang cupped her hands apologetically, and flew out directly. When the sect leader of Beichuan sect and the rest saw this, they frowned slightly and felt a little helpless. Chapter 26:17, Shuang respects her master too much. In the main hall, clan leader Bei Chuan said helplessly. It can't be helped. The Dragon King was the one who helped her walk out of tens of thousands of years of silence. With Bei Shuang's grateful personality, she must be very respectful to the Dragon King. An old ancestor beside him shook his head. To them, this was both a good and bad thing. The good thing was that Bei Shuang did not hate Beichuan sect. The bad thing was that her master might be more important than Beichuan sect. Just like now, the three major forces and the experts from the Moon sect were here. They came here specially to make friends with Bei Shuang, but her master came and left. But they couldn't say anything. Let's go and take a look. Clan leader Bei Chuan hesitated for a moment and followed them out. The people from the three major forces also flew out. When they flew out, they saw Bei Shuang and a young man flying in the air. Bei Shuang stood to the right, his face full of respect and reverence. The Frost Goddess is so respectful to her master. I can see that she is very respectful. Her master seems to be the leader of a small galaxy, but his strength is not as strong as the Frost Goddess. The leader of this force is really lucky. I wonder where he got the frost cultivation method from, making the silent Bei Shuang shine again. But this leader is a little out of line. His disciple is stronger than him. The strong rule. Even the master has to be humble. The people from the three major forces looked over and whispered. Clan leader Bei Chuan and the rest looked even worse. Clan leader, my master sent experts from the Dragon Palace here. They want to enter the abyss in this area to kill the abyss seed. At this time, Bei Shuang flew over and said to clan leader Bei Chuan. Of course. Clan leader Bei Chuan squeezed a smile and nodded immediately. But, Dragon King, there are many places that we need to guard. We might not be able to protect everyone's safety. He hesitated for a moment and continued. After that, he couldn't help but look at Bei Shuang. To him, Bei Shuang's master obviously wanted to obtain some abyss seed crystals through this war. With their support, even if they encountered danger, they could escape instantly without any worries. Furthermore, Bei Shuang was here now. If Bei Shuang went to help them, we, the Dragon Palace, can move freely. We will not be a burden to the Beichuan sect, nor will we move together with you. Upon hearing his words, Wang Xian replied directly, Master, do you want me to go with the Dragon Palace members? Bei Shuang said directly. Her words caused the expressions of Sect Master Kitagawa and the others to change. There's no need for that. Just stay at Beichuan sect. You don't need to do anything here at Dragon Palace. Wang Xian shook his head and swept a glance across sect leader Kitagawa and the rest. Upon hearing Wang Xian's words, sect leader Kitagawa and the rest looked better. The next time we fight, the Dragon Palace will take action, said Wang Xian to sect leader Kitagawa. No problem. The experts of Dragon Palace will help us. I thank everyone from Dragon Palace. Sect Master Kitagawa cupped his fist. As long as they did not implicate Beichuan sect, Sect Master Beichuan was willing to let the experts from Dragon Palace take action. If Dragon Palace took action, it would also reduce the pressure on their side. We're also here for the abyssal crystal. Wang Xian smiled. After chatting with him for a while, Wang Xian left and flew towards the Dragon Peak. Let's hope the Dragon Palace doesn't cause any trouble, sect leader Kitagawa murmured as he watched Wang Xian's disappearing figure. Because of Bei Shuang, he could only be polite to the Dragon Palace. Dragon King. Inside the Dragon Peak, Tianzhen immediately bowed when he saw Wang Xian. Wang Xian nodded and came to the highest command platform on the Dragon Peak. From there, he could see the outside and also the inside. All members of the Heaven's Eye Arrow Division are here. More than half of the Orochi's poison manufacturing department are here. All the Starwood Dragons are here. A small portion of the Mysterious Demon Clan and some of the Fire Hammer Clan are here too. This time, there are a total of 100,000 members, including about 1,000 Undying Divine Kings. Tianzhen continued. That's enough. Wang Xian nodded. 100,000 members, including 1,000 Undying Divine Kings. As for the rest of the Dragon Palace members, none of them were lower than level 5 Eternal Divine Lord. Most of them were at level 7 or level 8 Eternal Divine Lord. Among them, there were about 35,000 members from the Heaven's Eye Arrow Division. A round of attacks from them would definitely be devastating, not to mention the Dragon Peak and the thousands of divine weapons of war on the Dragon Peak. When the next war breaks out, I'll let all the forces on the Demon Islands witness the strength of the Dragon Palace. Wang Xian's eyes shone brightly. Time was the least valuable thing in the universe. The next war would break out in 10 days. Countless abyss species were gathered at the exit. They could release their own strength to expand the abyss. As for the 4 major forces, they had to destroy the abyss before it expanded. Once the number of abyss species gathered reached a certain level, they would have to enter and hunt. All disciples of the Dragon Palace, get ready. When the war broke out again, Wang Xian's eyes shone brightly as he stood on the command platform and shouted coldly, "Yes." The members of the Dragon Palace answered loudly. All members of the Heaven's Eye Arrow Division stood on the arrow platform. Let's go. Wang Xian waved his arm and gave the order, Wang. The entire Dragon Peak shook slightly as it flew towards the abyss in front of the Beichuan planet at a terrifying speed. Huh? What's that? A huge war machine? Which force are they from? Some of the planetary forces on the northern border were shocked when they saw Dragon Peak flying towards the abyss. Go in. Dragon Peak was extremely fast and reached the front of the Beichuan planet in less than 5 minutes. Wang Xian looked at the abyss in front of him and gave the order immediately. Wang. Dragon Peak entered the abyss directly and exuded a mysterious aura like a sacred mountain. Huh? What's that? Which force are they from? Some disciples of the Beichuan sect asked immediately when they saw the war machine flying towards them. Dragon Palace. Wang Xian shouted softly as he entered the abyss and looked at the millions of abyss species in front of him. Dragon Palace? It's the sect of the vice sect master. Sect master said to ignore them if they come. We'll fight them ourselves. Is this the war machine of the Dragon Palace? It looks so powerful. Some disciples and experts of the Beichuan sect looked at Dragon Peak, who had stepped into the battlefield, in shock. The weakest abyss species are at the eternal divine lord level. There are also many immortal divine king level. Wang Xian stared at the entire battlefield with passion in his eyes.